What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Smoking Tire Podcast. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Dylan Optics sunglasses. You know those really cool glasses you see me wearing in every video with the matte finish? Those are called Dylan Optics. I just got a new fresh pair for 2019. Super excited. They've got the plastic frames, metal frames, ladies' size frames, and of course prescriptions now, all of which come with their patented NIR lens technology. That's that matte finish that makes them look fogged up when they are not really fogged up. But the new, every time, I beat mine up so badly that every time I get a brand new pair, oh my God, it's like HD life. They're so clear and have a really unique look compared to any other sunglass on the market. If you go to thesmokingtire.com and click on the Dylan banner in the Partners tab, if you buy a shirt that way, or buy a pair of sunglasses that way, I'll send you a free Smoking Tire t-shirt for supporting the people who support us. They're beautiful sunglasses. They're assembled in the USA, in Arizona, and they're just really, really nice to wear. It's all I'll wear. So go to thesmokingtire.com, click on that Dylan banner under the Partners tab, and I'll send you a free t-shirt if you buy any pair, or I should say for every pair you buy, I will send you a Smoking Tire t-shirt. We're also brought to you by Beeline Coffee, the Smoking Tire special blend. It's called the Roasted Tire 3.0 is now out in their store. It is my favorite coffee. I drink it every single day. In fact, I just ran out and I'm eagerly waiting for my next shipment. I don't want to drink anything else while I'm waiting. I want my Beeline. Also, some have said that their classic roast is great as well. I haven't tried the second version of the classic roast, but the first version was excellent too. Use code TST at checkout for Beeline Coffee, and I'll give you 15% off your entire order, big or small. No worries about it, whether it's £1, 10 pounds, or a monthly subscription plan, which they do. The gift that keeps on giving. Use code TST at checkout, 15% off your entire order. Okay, on this episode of the podcast, my friend Ben Abrams is a really interesting dude. He's the founder of eGarage, which is a Seattle-based automotive media storytelling house. He's owned a detail shop like I have, and he has one of the most interesting car collections. He was like way ahead of the curve on a lot of the 90s European stuff, and he's a really interesting guy. He owns nightclubs and wedding venues, and he represents Seattle car culture well, so I like to get him in studio whenever he's in town. He's a solid individual. Ben Abrams on the Smoking Tire Podcast. Okay, folks, it's the Smoking Tire Podcast. This is going to be an interesting show, not only because we have fucking Ben Abrams in his house. What's up, Ben?
Yeah.
Co-founder of eGarage, has one of the more interesting car collections of people of anyone I know.
Thank you.
Seattle represents.
Yeah.
Nightclub owner. Yeah. Ish.
Is that,
do we call that a nightclub?
It is.
Venue owner.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
A nightclub.
Yeah, both.
And my Seattle Connect. It's my,
yeah,
it's my,
we have
it's
a
my
good time
Seattle
together.
hook. What's happening, man? Welcome.
Really, really happy to be here, man.
I'm sure you.
I'm glad it worked out. I'm glad it worked out. I was having a lot of fun Uber scootering around the city, though. I probably could have done that for the whole day.
Does Seattle not have?
We have the
scooters yet?
We have the bikes.
But you will soon.
And they're a complete plague on the city.
You will. I don't know. Do you think the
scooters
scooters can go up the hills in Seattle? I don't know if they have that kind of horsepower.
Probably not.
I don't know. They geofence them here, actually.
Did
you ride one into Santa Monica and see what happens?
I tried to ride on the beach, and it started getting slower.
Yeah. That's they
took a left, and then the power came back.
Yeah,
like, okay,
they'll geofence you, and they'll there's red zones where you can't go on the bike path in Santa Monica. They've decided you have to ride them on the street.
I mean, I was already cutting.
Men.
Yeah. I was already cutting through intersections at Reds. But I'm from New York. That's where I learned how to drive.
The sport of birding.
The sport of
birding is always about having all the advantages of a pedestrian while also having all the advantages of a car.
Right.
And you get to choose whenever you want, right the fuck up until a car smashes you at 40 miles an hour, which happened on Pacific 2 days ago.
E-bikes in Manhattan. Can we talk about the e-bikes in
Sure.
New York?
I have not much experience because I haven't hung out in New York much recently, but by all means, tell us.
It's intense because they have their own lanes that they kind of share or split with the bike lanes. But
wait, they have their own lane that's not a bike lane? There's a bike lane and an e-bike lane?
They come whipping right up to and blow through crosswalks, and I think someone has died in
I'm
an
sure
accident.
at least one
and I
person's
think
died.
Someone's trying to limit them.
So this is because the closing speeds they need a fast lane?
Yeah. I mean, these are all of the bike delivery drivers, the Chinese restaurants. Like, they're all using e-bikes, and they're zipping around the city. And yeah, people are getting hurt.
I bet they're fast, even in the governed form. Like, they're quick, and then I think you can take those off, and it's like 30 miles an hour. You just twist the throttle.
Right.
Yeah, you gotta. If you haven't, oh man,
I have a modded e-bike, fat tire, front suspension e-bike made by Felt.
That's probably very fun.
And I had it.
Felt don't they only make really expensive bikes?
I'm really happy with it. It's very well
it's doing
built.
Very well.
It does very, very well. So I modded it though, and so the way it's a pedal assist bike. It's not like a scooter.
Yeah. It just makes you seem like Schwarzenegger or like Lance Armstrong when you're pedaling a bike.
You can last longer, and you can go up hills, and you can. It wasn't really meant for going fast. The pedal assist comes governed at no faster than 20. Does it give you assist? So I found a product online searching called Bunny Power, which was terrible. But it's basically a little trick that the guy puts into the Bosch battery that only registers every other revolution of the tire.
Oh. I love
so
people.
I've gotten going 45
creative.
down my driveway on this fat bike.
Dude, that's crazy.
It's badass.
Those things weigh a lot. That's a lot of momentum.
Badass.
You have at least like disc brakes and shit, right? Like real brakes.
Oh yeah.
But in New York, it's like no one signals in New York. So like if you're fucking mobbing at 45 in this bike fast lane, you're gonna fucking die.
I remember when I was in high school, I wanted to be a bike messenger one summer in New York, and my dad's like, "Why don't you just ride a bike for a summer first, and then decide if you want to be a messenger?" And I did, and I lasted like 4 weeks. I was like, I'm good, thanks.
Our friend Tom Morningstar rides his bike from the suburbs of New York City into Manhattan, like 25 miles each way on a bicycle. Like, goes over the bridge, the whole deal, and then he'll like have a meeting in the city, and then he'll ride his bike home. Like, that shit is nuts.
Yeah.
People are crazy.
Mm-hmm.
The bike culture in Seattle is strong, right? Like they disrupt entire neighborhoods to try and get a bike lane in there, and it's because
takeovers.
It's because there's like a bike lobby of people like that who I respect the hell out of them, but they think that these these neighborhoods that are very close to the downtown core, you should be able to bike wherever, whatever, and these streets were not set up for that.
Yeah. People are going to think you're such a cokehead because you're fucking sniffling bad.
I've got like seriously 3 months. I've had a sinus infection.
Listen, it's okay.
I got a Navage. Have you seen these sinus flush things? The battery powered sinus flush?
Like a power washer for the inside of your nose?
It pushes water and sucks the water.
Oh my god, this sounds.
It's made by DeWalt.
And so you put this.
The combination of DeWalt and Gwyneth Paltrow together are selling via Goop the DeWalt. What's it called?
Navage. Navage. Yeah,
oh.
It's legit. It has nose pillows that you put into your nostrils, and you project salty water up into one, and then it sucks it out the other, and you never get that messy neti pot experience.
How do you spell it?
Navage.
It sounds like the name of a vagina.
Navage.
Oh, GE.
NA.
It's a show about cars.
There
folks.
it is. Yeah, my lady said it looked like
Star. They capitalize the A in the middle. I love when they do that.
My lady said it looked like Star Trek for my nose.
Oh, it kind of does.
Yeah. Oh man, there's an animation. That's so funny.
Can you play that animation? Is it on YouTube or is that?
Honestly, if you guys, this has changed my life, and I hope I'm not now a guy with sinus problems. I hope this is just a rare thing for me.
You just don't understand. We're solving this shit right now.
I've heard
we're just doing the will that someone in 6 months is gonna be like, bro, what was that sinus thing you guys were talking about?
Sponsored by Devon.
That happens to me all the time.
There was a story I saw last week. Some lady was using neti pots like weekly, and she wasn't filtering the water first, and she ended up getting a very strange parasite that infected her brain and killed her.
Exactly.
Oh, crazy!
It's a real thing.
Sure
Is
as
that
fuck
like the
is a
lady
real
that gets
thing.
the tomato seed like lodged in her throat, and then like all of a sudden has a fucking vine coming out of her face?
I mean, this was like, this wasn't a. Someone said it was the doctor's like, no, yeah, this is a parasite.
Yeah.
She didn't know about it. We didn't know about it, and
Doesn't an neti
distill
pot
your
boil
water.
the water?
No.
You can just pour it in, and
So there's big.
can use
When
beer.
you're using this, you're not supposed to use tap water. You either
distilled?
Yeah, you either use distilled or you boil it. So I brought this thing to Mexico with me.
Bend the schnoz Abrams.
So shout out to David Gross for the Navage hook, because he was like, "Yeah, you got to get one."
Do you have an influencer hookup on the Navage? Full disclosure, folks. I have
type in my code for 10% off. Put Turbo T in it and lose 5 pounds.
I have to hawk supplements on Instagram. Who am I to judge? I don't hawk supplements, but I do hawk other shit.
Do you take a lot of supplements?
I take a couple.
I take a handful. I got it from my dad. He was always popping
a couple little scoops of shit. Yeah, I actually had a fan who I was also kind of a fan of, who's this guy Haney Rambod, who's like a trainer to the stars.
Okay.
And he's like he trains like Mr. Olympias and shit, and he watches my show, and I heard about him on Instagram, and he just like messaged me and hooked me up with some of his supplements, and they are good as fuck.
Awesome.
Shout out to EvaGen. I don't have a code. Sorry. No Patreon, no code. But yeah, they're good supplements. I like them. I feel nice. You need your supplements?
I need vitamin D living in Seattle.
Yeah, I think my doctor told me everyone has a vitamin D deficiency.
Yeah, but when you're not getting the sun in the winter, it's hard, dude. It's hard.
What's the Seattle car scene really like? I know the shop. You took me to the shop, which was kind of you. Hear that place is popping off.
I took you to the shop. Yeah, I think there's a lot of different things that are popping up in Seattle, and he's one of them. I think people, obviously, it's just like any other city, they need a place to park their cars.
Yeah.
But they also need.
They got a restaurant and shit.
Place
in there.
to find community. Our Redmond Town Center, like our Cars and Coffee, is responsible for bolstering a lot of the enthusiasm in the city, giving people a place to go,
Derby, is that the name of the restaurant?
That's the name of the restaurant. Yeah.
The bar was cool. We went after restaurant hours, but the bar was definitely cool.
Yeah. No, it's a cool vibe. It's got that warehouse, Seattle feel. I've got a business close to it, so I can appreciate what he's trying to do, his aesthetic. I think giving people a place to go, Drivers Club is the other one I was talking to you about.
Yeah.
They're doing a similar thing, very different ways. So, what you're doing down here, right? And I think for you, it's also about fostering community, right? It's
partially, but it's more about providing a service that a lot of people are in desperate need of. For me,
Yeah.
Other people they're trying to do the whole community thing and create a brand and all that.
Right.
For me, it's like
Well,
I just dangle. I just have to
regardless.
dangle a little carrot. It's easier for me.
Yours will be branded because you're branded, and that's fine. It's it's going to be yours in your own way.
Fucking hashtag SP, son. SP.
So the way I look at Seattle though is, everybody. I don't know if you guys want to talk that, or if I should follow the screens to guide the discussion, or how
No.
you guys are
Don't worry.
doing it,
Don't worry about the screen.
The screen reacts to what you guys talk about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've been in Seattle for 15 years. 2001, and I think I was trying to find myself as a Seattle car enthusiast when I first got there. I had a Escalade on 20-inch chrome wheels.
Hell yeah.
That got put up on blocks. It's a nice neighborhood too. And I'm trying to think of what came first. Like it was, as I started building a life, I started building the collection a little bit more. And I got to know, I got to feel really rooted in Seattle, because it has just as many enthusiasts as any other city does, and we're looking for reasons to go drive. And I've always been a driving type collector, so I fit really well in Seattle.
Is the short season make you appreciate the
I've
days
been driving
stuff?
different stuff, like D90 bringing the kid to school in the rain is awesome.
Can't get behind Defenders. Can't do it. Not if you have a left side of your body. It's just the most uncomfortable. And you have had back problems too. I don't know. You're tall. You've had back surgeries. How you can drive a fucking Defender? I'll never know.
A, I'm fixed now, but B, I think my 90 is kind of a baseball glove to me now. I just fit really well. It's a soft top also, so I have a little bit more. You're just talking about being upright.
I'm just talking about the fact that it's not really. Where's your left arm supposed to go?
We just got out of your Safari, and you're talking about uncomfortable cars.
That car is very comfortable. Safari is nice.
Maybe if you could push the seat back, it would be comfortable.
It's not meant to have a 6'4" guy in the passenger seat.
It can't slide back that far.
I mean, it's just not meant for super tall people in the passenger seat. My seat is meant for
just twist it a bit.
Twist it hard.
Yeah, it'll squeak a little bit. That's okay.
My seat's meant for tall people. Yeah. Marco, who rebuilt my engine, was like, I had to have Steve do all your test driving because I can't read your pedals. I was wondering, he didn't seem to have any phone books around. So
I drove a Defender 90 for 2 days in Iceland, and so that was my first and only experience, to be fair, driving
humble brag.
That was a 110.
No, I wasn't trying to humble brag. It was like, I guess it was a little bit, but it's like I rented it. Where did they rent those?
Yeah.
Only Iceland.
Hell yeah.
And I did find that the distance from like the left side of the seat to the window was very close.
It is.
Yeah.
It was very upright seating, and just ergonomically, it was designed in like the 50s, 60s. So they've gotten a little better, I think, knowing the shape of humans and giving a fuck about them. So I respect the ability of that truck, and I know it's very durable. And if you're gonna drive across like the world, it's a pretty good choice. But I feel like a lot of people put it up on a pedestal of like, it's as good as anything. It's like, well, it has flaws. And I think that gets ignored.
There's Rover purists, there's air-cooled purists, there's purists across all categories, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just like
pull up my Instagram
body.
and you'll see mine. You'll see what I'm talking about. It's truly like, I don't know. You got to scroll, but you'll see it. It's a Stormtrooper Defender.
He also has that, which is better. That's better than a Stormtrooper. Ben has the cool.
Wow.
Is that a 7-liter? What is it, like a 6?
It's a 5.8 blown V8.
It's a 55 50.
It's a 55.
It's a 55 stroked.
That was stroked by Brabus to a 5.8.
That's and it's a 2-door soft top
with a Kleeman supercharger on it.
Yeah, that's a fun one. Ben has some fucking weird stuff. You have CLK DTM.
Yeah, still.
You have a.
I try and sell that car, but it's really impressive for a 3,800 pound car. It handles so well, so light.
And there's like 0 of them.
I think there's maybe a handful.
There's in America there are not many.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I meant to ask you. We talked about this earlier. This is hard. It's tough because Ben and I went to lunch before the show, so we have to
talk about everything interesting.
Yeah, we already went through. We have to do loop 2. Right. So yeah, we're circling back on the things I.
You know better than that.
I know. Well, he
invited me.
I know.
Weed's legal.
The LM002, which that black one.
Yes.
So, what year is that?
It's an 88.
All right, so same year as my Countach. So, what is it like to own a fucking LM002?
It's a tough one. It's I'll never sell it. It's you got to find somebody who works on them and you trust.
Which is probably 4 people in the world.
Mine has been relatively okay maintenance wise.
What does relatively okay mean in terms of a Lamborghini?
For those who don't know, the LM002 is the original SUV from Lamborghini from, I think, 88 to 90 or 88 to 91 maybe.
It was an 87 to 92, I want to say. And so this is a carbureted Countach engine truck. I've driven it back and forth from Seattle to Pebble 2 years in a row. No more.
And
this is one of those that is a perfect example of, as you break it in, it gets better. It becomes less intimidating, less uncomfortable, more, I hate to overuse the analogy, but like a well-worn glove. Like you can feel the thing waking up, and you start to worry about it less.
Yeah.
And it's just another one of those cars that has quirks.
But is it... Uh-oh, what happened? Pull your headphones out? Womp womp. But is it a massive pain in the ass or not, or only a minor pain in the ass?
I think you're like me, man. I think like you're willing to work for the right car.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And
I'll put up with some things.
Yeah. and so it's no more consider the Countach, but you're, 4 feet higher.
Oh, I've always wanted that in a Countach.
Right? It's there it is. The LM is like the sound it makes, and when you're driving through a city, it's echoing off the buildings, just like the Countach.
Yeah.
One year I covered the LM with blue and white lights and a big menorah and put it on the spare tire, and it was my Hanukkah car. I just drove it around Seattle.
I haven't heard of a Hanukkah car. But
You're gonna free the Maccabees like that.
I think we should start a thing. We should
irony
start a
considering
Hanukkah car
who those
thing.
were actually built for. No, that's great. I'm glad that has managed to be, relatively working.
Oh yeah, it's got a good home, and again, if you drive them, they reward. And one thing I think we all have to consider is who works on these cars in the next 20 years. And this is one of those cars that you might have a problem. But
very old people train some younger people.
Well, now. Right. And also what I found is getting in with guys who are willing to learn, even if it is on yours. If you keep him around, then he knows all of the quirks about your vehicles.
Yeah. Oh, there's the one with the bikes and the
Shout
bike
out
racks
to Ben.
on the back.
Shout out to Ben for keeping my stuff on the road.
That looks great with a bike rack on the back.
Yeah, that was fun.
Do you have like the jump seats in the trunk of yours?
Yeah.
That's fucking cool.
You got Pellies in the back. Good for you, not just bubbling, bubble wrapping these things.
That was our gear truck. I brought a bunch of filming equipment down.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good fun. And see, you can have some practicality at Pebble Beach.
That truck is the only truck, I think, if someone knows of another one out there, please let me know, with a rear sliding window. Just,
like a pickup truck would have? Do most of them not have that?
Valentino said it's the only one he's ever seen.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder, you think it was done at the factory?
I would
or
think
it
if
was
anybody
done
knows.
By the original owner?
That's the Rokon.
Oh, yeah. Would you think that was done by the original owner?
I have no idea.
Or by the factory?
I have no idea.
Huh. Valentino's a good person to ask, though, if he says he hasn't seen it before.
Yeah, but details are fuzzy around that era.
Yeah.
You're lucky to get that.
Yeah, that's true. I'm lucky I had a colorful first owner of my car because I got the power doors and I got the loud exhaust and a fuzz buster out of it. It's like, yes,
The fuzz buster.
the fuzz buster. I was showing the cops on Mulholland the fuzz buster. They thought it was fucking hilarious. They were excited. And the other thing I want to ask you about is this Rokon thing, which is on that bottom right there, Zach. It's an off-road motorcycle that's 2-wheel drive.
Yeah. That's 1972,
What?
but they still make them. So you could pull up a Rokon website, and they look a lot different.
They were on like Gear Patrol or something, one of the last week.
But yeah, it's 2-wheel drive. You put fuel or water in the wheels, and they're meant to tip them over in rivers and float them down rivers and go into like backcountry campsites or hunting or whatever it might be.
Wait, when you say tip them over, like literally lay it on its side?
Yeah, to
float it down a river?
To float a river on it.
And then when you're done, you'd fill the tires with water to keep the center of gravity low. Is that what you said?
Well, you could be transporting fuel or water in them. So it's about, are you going much further that you want one wheel full of gas and then another wheel full of gas to come back to the river?
That is
or if
crazy.
If you're wanting water for
Right.
to float, then you can use it for that also.
Whoa.
The wheels are basically canteens.
Yeah.
That is fascinating.
How does it drive the front wheel though?
If you go back to that picture, so
Is there a chain drive somewhere?
there is a chain drive. It goes right down the top tube, and you can it's the wrong side of the
I'll try to
the
find
fork.
Oh, is there a cog that's visible on the other
exactly.
side? Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. It's a really kind of
There you go.
Oh, there, yeah, you can sort of see even though it's covered in snow.
yeah.
That's pretty rad.
Yeah, but these are like the new ones that people are.
Are people modding them?
Oh yeah. Whereas
Like,
mine is just like
can you put like a turbo on it? What do you do?
Mine is just a mule, man. Like
Yeah.
It's like a really long board.
It can't like go fast, right?
It'll go 30 downhill.
Okay.
But the cool thing about it is it will literally climb anything. Like there's videos of them old school, like climbing up over down trees. And, you know, just like a mountain goat on wheels.
So are you kind of drawn to somewhat strange but I guess interesting functionality, like LM002 this?
Yeah. I think I was talking about this before, but I think that, you know, it's hard to group it all under one umbrella, but I find that the more variety in my collection, the more balanced I stay in life, because I so use my cars as a way to interface with reality. So if I can get very different experiences, you know, then that's what I'm going after.
So instead of having 5 sports cars, you're like, well, then all I'm doing is track, canyon, car show. You're like, well, this is an off-road thing. I should take it to the wilderness or something like that.
I mean, cool. I can't say I use them all for their intended purpose all the time, but I never want to be the guy who gets the G-Wagon, you know, to go get groceries and dry cleaning and go to the beach. Like I want to use granted, my G-Wagon is lowered and has a convertible top, so it would be very practical.
Actually, a pretty good beach car.
But you don't always use, like the LM002, you don't always use to drive around your ranch in Colombia filled with cocaine.
No, of course not. Yeah,
like more of like a holiday time. Yeah. I just watched Narcos, so I'm like, that's what the car was used for back then.
And for the fucking Arabs to hit up the dunes.
With the big ass tires, the super soft sidewall.
Which is exactly what the Urus is meant for now.
The sand lip.
What's the sand lip?
The sand lip is what made those tires special. If you look up at the LM002 Pirelli Scorpion with the sand lip, you'll see it's what they did for that desert terrain, and it wicks the sand off the tread.
Oh, really?
And spins it off of the tire.
Oh, neat.
And they didn't really ever intend anybody to drive on asphalt on them.
Oh,
and
so
those tires
the tires just melt.
Are you need like a close up of the tire. So those are the new ones. So those are the Scorpion Zeros that they replace the sand lip ones, and those just look like a normal tire. But on the sand lip, you'll see the outer edge of the tread.
Did they start?
Yeah, that's it.
They start remaking them so you can get new tires now.
No, and that's I've been wanting to have that conversation with Pirelli, and I tried to make it happen around the Urus. Like, wouldn't it be cool if we brought a bunch of LM owners out and we announced a rerun of tires and we did a bunch of content around that, because I have an LM and you guys are going to have Uruses. I tried to get out in front of that, and I just couldn't make it happen.
They just didn't care?
Well, I think
Pirelli's making Countach tires now.
I think Lamborghini didn't necessarily do a job to connect the Urus to the LM. I think they tried a little bit to keep it separate. They certainly didn't really do it in marketing that much.
They did it at the press launch, and all of us snickered.
Right. And I think they knew that the people who knew would do that.
Yeah.
And so,
like, I see them as very different things.
Yeah, and so I don't think there was any current money interested in funding a story like that, but I do still think that they will see the opportunity for a rerun on LM.
How many did they make?
Numbers like 365 or something.
Pretty
like
low.
That.
Yeah. I wonder if you want tires, where can you go? Nowhere?
Yeah, you got to find the guys who have been stacking them.
Really?
Oof. Yeah.
So everyone's driving around.
I think there's another brand.
Shitty tires.
I think there's another brand. I don't remember what it was, but it's a knobby tread tire that just doesn't fit the truck, but it is your last resort. So I think there's something out there.
Like one that's got like flaming eagles on it or something. Yeah. Like you mean like an America tire.
Yeah, basically.
No, I didn't.
What concept car was that? They had tires with flame tread on it.
Oh.
They did a burnout that laid down flames. It was definitely like a Dodge.
It was a Mopar.
It was a Mopar product for sure.
Something Mopar. Yeah,
how about the aromatic tires? The tires that were laced with the smells, the essential oils.
I do not recall that
this
one.
was like 2 or 3 years ago at SEMA. They had like lavender tires.
So like you can calm the crowd as you do a burnout or something?
Serious.
Vaughn Gittin's like, all the crowd's like, it's so relaxing.
Welcome to Vaughn Gittin's Spa.
Not joking.
You guys, is that someone's vape box? What are your settings? Do you vape too?
Formula Drift Spa.
Guys, that's our new tires. Does that come in a vape juice? Can I get that?
I actually looked into the
I remember the colored tires. The colored
it was at the same time.
Oh, okay.
The gender reveal with the colored tires. I was considering doing that.
I'm so glad you did not.
No,
don't do that.
I did a pumpkin instead.
You did a pumpkin?
Well, actually, we didn't do a gender reveal at all. I just did the baby announcement with the pumpkin.
Oh.
How
How did you use the pumpkin?
Put the baby in the pumpkin.
Close the top?
3 carved pumpkins representing me, my wife, and my kid.
Oh,
and then a
right.
4th pumpkin that just said that was carved with a number 2 on it.
Oh, yeah. There you go. That's how you use a pumpkin.
That's how I announced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fucking great.
So
2 kids. What the fuck else did I want to talk to you about? eGarage is your production company.
yeah, we
Did you make videos?
Yeah, we make a lot of videos.
How did you decide to do that? Because before that, you were in the detailing game
I
when I
was.
first met you.
Yeah, I touched my toes into it. Wasn't as passionate about it as I thought I was.
Yeah, you're stuck in one room, aren't you?
Yeah,
Stuck in one building.
Yeah, I'm not passionate about establishing that kind of service-based business. I don't think. I think there's a limit to how much you can charge people. I mean, paint correction specialists are different than car wash guys, and people know that. But that there were guys who were and still do probably charge big money to come in and do concourse cars, and they do 3 to 5 cars a year or something like that.
Yeah. Takes a week, and they take all the seats out and take the wheels off.
We were offering to do that on a weekly basis, but in reality, there's not enough people who want to do that, and you can't convince a guy from New York to ship his car to Seattle for a detail. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. By the time it gets home, it's got dust on it. That's the sad truth.
Right.
That's why Larry gets on planes instead of cars getting on trucks.
Right. I'm grateful for that experience. It's actually taught me to be a lot less neurotic about the cars now, because I'm kind of it's not that I didn't drive them before. It's just that I don't care about keeping them as clean, because I'm not representing a business. So that's been nice. It's been nice to be able to drop.
Yeah, when
that.
you own a detail shop, your shit always has to be mega spotless.
Yeah.
Otherwise, people are like, "What the fuck?"
And most of my shit is black too. So I don't like car covers. I've got all my car covers rolled up in racks in the corner of my garage.
You punch uphill with all the black cars. He's got like a fleet of black cars in Seattle. It's just like rain spot city.
So eGarage came along because there was a need for, the forums were dying. There was blogs were popping up, and there was people were looking for a way to digest automotive content and figure out automotive stories. And just like you've been telling automotive stories for years now, I was trying to figure out a way to do it with, at the time, both photos and video. And in reality, our skills consolidated, my interests consolidated, and it's been about video for 6 years. And I think we got in at a time where people's attention spans were shrinking,
Yeah. Oh,
and digital short form was going to be the way. And then it has evolved into, well, what am I doing? Am I just telling stories because these are good stories, or, is somebody going to start paying for these other than me? Because while I come from a publishing background. My dad is a publisher, and so there's a desire in me to just publish good content, get good stories out there. But in the end, the responsible thing to do is find other people to pay for them. Mm-hmm. So it became a branded content thing, And some of them, like this, like the Pinscour.
If you can do that, that's like the ultimate success without seeming like you're selling out, right? You have to be like upfront about it.
Yeah.
And not have to really have much of or be comfortable letting the brand tell their story instead of trying to like interject yours.
Well, what I've found is that a lot of brands don't know how to tell their stories. A lot of brands come to me needing fresh ideas, or being a brand new brand and not having anything, and starting from scratch. So a lot of people started coming to me for creative, soup to nuts production. And you get to work with a lot of agencies, and you get to work with a lot of different scales of brands. And I feel very fortunate to have been given an opportunity to refine a craft that I didn't even know I had. I didn't go to school for this. It all came from a love of cars. I still don't pick up cameras because I usually break them. So my role is not in anything other than, executive video production. I'm not. I hire guys who are better than me to do, all of the things that I have to then deliver to a client. But what I give the client is a lot of my time in my head, and like what I think is my perspective on the story they're trying to tell. The green car is a nice one. It's we did it for Mercedes, and this is a great reflection of a story that was available at the Classic Center.
That's based. Is that 300 SL with no windshield? That rules.
It's a
Speedster.
It's a recreation of a 300 SLS race car.
I like that.
And I love the guys at the Classic Center. I think what they're doing is amazing, and I'm fortunate that they're close to us. I mean, it'd be like having Classiche around the corner from you and be able to not only just call them a client.
Are they close to you?
Well, no, they're in Irving.
Right here. Yeah.
So just to have them on the West Coast.
Oh, yeah. Close, I guess, is relative. I knew it was close to me.
Right. But, so they came to us and said, we've got a client who's building one of these homage cars, and we want to get behind some storytelling, and what can you do? And it's a sad story, actually. There was an AMG driving day at Laguna, and the car was there. We had 4 hours on the track before the driving school started. It was a completely open track, no turn workers, nothing. I've never had Laguna like that before in my life. I'm sure you have, but this was a new thing for me. With this car.
For even less time, though, for like a half an hour.
We had 4 hours ready for us. It was like the world was our fucking oyster. We had our sound guy. We had everything we needed. The car made it about 45 minutes into kind of warm-up laps as we started to feel it all out, and then it had a catastrophic failure.
Oh. Like through a rod catastrophic failure?
Yes.
Oh, it sucks.
And they had to load it back up, and we had to get some other footage. That was from earlier. We spent the morning.
Franz, push it down the hill. Get some gravity shots.
We got to get a second shot on the corkscrew. They're like, fuck. Gotta put it up.
Push it back up the hill. We need to get more gravity next time. So you're going to tell me someone died. Oh yeah, through a rod. That sucked balls.
It sucked real balls because we had to kind of make it up and mock up some stuff.
You weren't just like, woohoo, track day for 3 hours, 15
it definitely
more
doesn't work like that.
in the Suburban.
Hey, listen, I did a Suburban track test, and it was the best video we made on that whole trip.
So we've done. You'll see boat stuff there. Like what I guess what I came up with as far as a tagline for eGarage was stories in motion, because I realized I didn't want to just be kind of backing myself into the car niche. Like, while the portfolio is obviously 99% cars, I feel like with what we could do, if we wanted to go into the selling out branded content, then I could go, pitch a running company or whatever. Anybody who needs footage in motion and sees value to stories is somebody that I could work with.
Boats is a good extension, though.
Boats is a great extension.
I scammed my way into quite a few boat reviews, and it was really nice.
Yeah.
Really
I actually wanted to get you in one of those.
What was that?
Go to that split screen. You'll see. There you go. Go to that split screen. That'll show
what kind of boat are we talking about here?
Boats. Invincible.
Invincible?
Yeah. This shows our camera.
Like a fucking beast, like offshore.
Shows the
black
footage.
arm.
Oh, cool! Yeah, look at that. It's got that's like a Steadicam mounted on the bow of a boat.
Yeah.
Pretty badass. Nice and smooth. You're also shooting high speed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was nice.
That looks like great fun.
We got to spend a weekend in the
triple Yamaha offshores, maybe some kind of triple offshore.
Very, very fast fishing boat, but has a great story on the hull builders.
Oh yeah.
So the manufacturer wanted to tell the story.
4 engines, yes. Mercury's
on these Naval Architect America's Cup hull builders, and this was like their first commercial fishing boat venture into commercial fishing boats.
It's like the beginning of
so
that
we got
movie,
we got to do a deep dive into hull building and what makes hulls, just like for me, it's that deep dive into a subject with each new project that I can then get right out of, and I can file it away as like, okay, I learned that from that. It's been a tremendous learning process to learn about stuff that I never would have.
Yeah. That's like getting an F1 team to build like, a utility van.
Like when they built the bobsled, like the F1 team to build the what team was it? Germany? It was America. BMW built their bobsled.
Yes.
It was America, right?
I think you're right.
Yeah.
They just take engineering brilliance and put it anywhere.
Carbon fiber and crazy other materials. That boat looks fun. I'd like to have a go in that.
It was cool though. We like started with why it's a catamaran.
Oh, it's a split hull. Okay.
So we wanted to. You try to
there
find,
you go.
Yeah. I had to go into the benefits of why a catamaran is better than a monohull, and I'm talking to their naval architect, hull builder guy who has won America's Cup on the multifoilers, the things that are like
the new
flying
boats. Yeah,
over
they're crazy.
So
Crazy stuff,
dude. Those
man.
boats are awesome. The rigid sails, like hydrofoil boats,
Yeah.
they're so twitchy. They crash all the time. They're great.
But yeah, the idea is then to go.
For
on
those
a
who
fishing
don't know,
adventure.
do you want to explain why a catamaran is better? The short version of it.
Yeah, it's about cutting surface tension and forcing it back into kind of one the tunnel.
Yeah.
And once you can get up on plane, basically, the less surface tension you have with the water, the faster you can go and the more stable it'll be.
Yeah, the tunnel creates a high pressure zone of air that sort of lifts you out of the water a bit and helps you have less boat in the water.
Reduces
speed.
friction. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's really genius.
It's a good design. Catamaran sailboats can't sail as close to the wind. That's the downside, but they're nice and fat to live in, as we learned in Thailand last year. Wow, that truck is rowdy.
This is great.
Yeah, what's up with this truck on your Instagram, dude? It rules.
The puzzle truck.
F-150?
Yeah, Daddy's girl.
It's a Chevy. Sorry,
it's she calls it a puzzle truck. It's a Chevy with the Ford engine in it. So her Ford's a master mechanic, and the truck was handed down by her dad, and
her dad was a Ford master mechanic.
her husband's a Ford master
her husband
mechanic.
is.
And this is what she's got left from her dad, and her husband has helped keep it alive by giving it a new Ford heart. And we had a fun shootout. That's Arizona. They brought their old three-wheeler into the woods, and we mocked up a little lunch scene. That was for Valvoline.
Those who just got two of those three-wheelers? Someone I
Rod.
followed. Oh yeah, Rod did. He used to race those fucking things.
So dangerous.
Because he needed anything to be cooler.
He was. Yeah, we were just talking about Emery because Ben's got an Emery Outlaw 356, and one of many fun things in his collection. And Rod is just like he's like 44, but he's been working on cars for 30 years. Like no
Sounds
one
about
has
right,
that
yeah.
kind of ratio.
Right.
Like to do that one thing for so dedicated for so fucking long.
And with family too. I think that's an important part about Rod. Like
Yeah.
when you do something for that long, you can easily become an asshole because you've isolated yourself from everybody who cares about you and be that really good but grumpy mechanic, who rarely doesn't even want to give your client the time.
Yeah.
But Rod is such, he's been surrounded by family the whole time that, it started with that and it keeps him grounded.
Yeah, just don't show up at his secret shop.
And the cool thing is all the stuff he can't talk about. Have you ever heard that about him?
All the things he can't talk about?
Yeah, the things that
No,
he's
I don't think I'm that cool with
the
him
things
yet.
that he's built that he can't talk about, like the
Well, if you know about them, he's talking about them.
what he has posted about is like the Red Bull, the space pod thing that Felix jumped out of.
Oh, yeah,
so he
yeah.
had help in he had a hand in building some of that stuff.
Oh,
That's-
like government contract
That's public
shit?
knowledge.
Yeah.
The other stuff that goes off from there is stuff that I don't know about, but he's told me that specific thing. He's like, what I can't tell you is cooler than what I can tell you.
That's not surprising. Gail Banks was in here talking about he's building engines for the military, and I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of folks, need custom things built, and they don't. The CIA doesn't have a fucking.
Well, it's like
thing
if
to
you're at
build
the
them,
top of the game,
Yeah.
you're at the top of the game, and it's the private industry thing. Like, is the government gonna pay for someone to become a master metal crafter?
Right.
And okay, you're gonna do your homework on Porsches for 40 years or something like high performance, and then we need you to build this jump capsule. It's like, Gail's that's all he's ever done is build engines that are durable and powerful. They're the best brain in the business.
It's all the same machinery building it all. You know? It's so I haven't seen it, but I do know that I don't know if you could say I built something that went into space. It's pretty much life goals check right
pretty
there.
badass. Yeah, check that one off. And then you can't tell anybody about it though. You can say it, but only by yourself in the fucking mirror. You can't tell anybody about it.
I was at a hors d'oeuvres thing with some friends of my girlfriend, and one of the guys there runs SpaceX's entire program, and the other guy there is an ER doctor, and on the side is the medical officer for SpaceX's program. And they're like, so what do you do? I'm like, I make dick jokes about cars. Just feeling like an infant in this company. Fucking geniuses sending things to space and keeping people alive as they go to Mars.
You know what, though? I bet you could find a way to spin that and have them jealous of you.
Oh, you know how it is. Everybody's like, oh, man, your job sounds cool. Because, we get to drive things and experience things and travel.
Yeah. Grass is always greener.
Totally.
I saw an interview with Steve Carell. And like, what do you, if you couldn't do this, what would you be doing? And he's like, I wish I could write for Road and Track. I want to be like, Steve, I can help you with this. Hit me up, son. But
so, can I ask you about this? Seems like the appropriate venue. So, I'm not a big self-promoter, but I can say now that I've written a piece for Mercedes-Benz, and I was never a journalist. They didn't pay me. They flew me down for this Mercedes rally, right?
Yeah.
And then I wrote something for them that's now on their website. I want to do that again.
You should.
How?
How'd you do it the first time?
He just made me an offer, and I was like, of course I'll be available.
Well, then you should do that again. Well, call the same guy. Call him back.
Well, he doesn't. I don't just want to do it. Like
Oh, you mean you now want to be an actual automotive journalist? It's
like I really like.
It's kind of nice.
It's hard to know. Like I want the ability to have a project like that once a quarter or something like that.
You have two avenues. Like did Mercedes pay you to write the thing that went on their site?
Nope, but they paid for the rally that I was on and my way. Yeah,
you could either approach.
And that's all I need.
And say, I did this for them. I could do that for you. I'll construct a good story. Just send me down there. If you go like the more journalist way, it may actually lead to people pointing out conflict of interest because your eGarage business is so brand has so many brand projects. But if you could do the thing like you did for Mercedes and just like
cost covered is fine with me.
Yeah, dude. All these magazines like Aston Martin has like Vantage magazine. Like there's a Lamborghini magazine. Like, they all have magazines. You can if you're not willing to fucking nitpick dynamics and stuff and kind of want to write a travel piece or tell a story, you could definitely write for one of these magazines and no one's gonna be like, he's not a journalist. Like no one gives a shit about that kind of stuff.
And what I don't want to do is
legit journalists who write for like real fucking quote objective publications who fucking side piece write for Aaron Robinson. I mean, is like does all the data for Car and Driver, like testing and stuff like that. And he wrote like 4 stories in the last like Aston Martin magazine.
Like I don't want new cars. I don't, I have mad respect for Dan Neal, but I'm not gunning for his job. Like I want I don't know. I just want those kind of opportunities. And I could wake up the eGarage blog again and use that as my publication, but in reality, nobody fucking reads online anymore. Like,
what do they do?
Who are we kidding? I mean,
I don't know. They watch this show for some reason.
Yeah, I think they watch, right? It's
they watch,
audio,
they
visual.
listen.
Yeah, they watch, they listen.
I read actually.
You've gone back, and I think people our age are going back, but it's going to be in flux.
Yeah, and it's a struggle. Like we're realizing that we have to, and our kids won't. We're kind of towing the line.
You're the only one in this room with kids, so you know better than.
It's going to happen. I think in 20 years, it's going to be really hard to get anybody to fucking read anything, especially online. I watched the podcast too while I was doing something else.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm hoping for a resurgence of print as a luxury item.
It would be great, but I don't think it's really going to happen though. The luxury magazines with the really thick paper stock and all that stuff.
Yeah, but even those guys don't make money. That's unfortunately where I've ended up.
Right.
I thought they did. I thought, no, I could find the right guy who makes money doing this, but I talked to a bunch of them. None of them do.
No,
it's annoying.
Yeah,
because I had hope. I really had hope for the luxury magazine, but it was nope. DOA.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fair assessment. Although I'm writing I wrote a piece for a luxury magazine called William Brown. It's WM Brown Magazine. I wrote a piece about Utah national parks in winter. It's a travel piece. Yeah, there it is. The William Brown Magazine. It's by the guy who did, if you saw the A Man and His Watch book, it's by the same guy who did A Man and His Watch. And is writing A Man and His Car, which is a book I'm in.
This is a G-Shock goes to Lake Como.
Hilarious.
We have reached peak Venice.
Hilarious. No, I definitely have.
Ben found peak Venice at all at Creation Cafe.
Yeah.
Creation Cafe in Venice is spelled with a K in both words. It's Creation Cafe with K's, and he found almond milk, but spelled
MYLK.
because it's not really milk.
Like it's like their own,
it's
like
like
their own
women,
branded milk.
It's still worse.
Almond milk or something. And I'm saying like milk isn't a brand. It's not like Kleenex.
No.
You milk something.
But almond milk isn't actual milk. It's like almond juice or almond water.
Right. I think you may have actually hit you milk something.
It's a process.
It's the action. Right, but it's the process of milking something in every animal is basically the same.
Yeah.
But when you come to almonds, it's like, well, get out these tins and the boiler, and you're like, what are you doing? We just need hands, right? Like, that's a little different. This animal is a wily one.
I did see the
So then the I gets to change to a Y.
I buy milks that are not made of milk, and even I'm annoyed by the Y.
Yeah.
Good. I'm not the only one.
I told him it's the most pretentious thing you're going to see until you walk into Erewhon.
Yeah, I still haven't gone there, and I'm fine.
You still never gone?
No, I've heard everything I've heard about it makes me think I'll just get mad.
Well, you get mad until you see the women.
Yeah, there are hot women everywhere in this town.
But not in such a concentration.
Yeah, but there you got to spend $9 on like a carrot to
I don't
stand
think
and look at
$9 will
them.
buy you a carrot.
Right, so I can just I have the
If you
internet.
want a carrot, that's $12, sir. Do you understand where this is? We're next to Vice. There's a line to get in that place. It's fucking ridiculous.
In Device or Erewhon?
No, not in Device. Into Erewhon. There's a line to like park there because the parking lot's like mega
It's like
stacked.
6 spots, right?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's the Whole Foods of Whole Foods.
Yeah, that's what I've been
Yeah.
told. Is it's like if you were to take the most specialist part of Whole Foods
Yeah.
and consolidate it.
The most annoying, like if you took if it's Whole Foods that only vegans, gluten-free people, and people with thyroid conditions,
It's crushing
can eat
the
it.
coal of Whole Foods into
Yeah.
a diamond that is
For those of you
Erewhon.
who have no idea what the fuck we're talking about right now, there's a grocery store in Los Angeles called Erewhon, and it is the most pretentious place on the face of the earth.
And I think, nobody's confirmed this for me, but it might be a misspelling on Nowhere Backwards.
Yeah, it almost is kind of like Nowhere Backwards, but it also seems a little like Lord of the Ringsy.
It seems very Lord of the Ringsy.
Yeah, I don't know.
Either way,
Yeah.
bad.
Either way, whatever. You're gonna
Way bad.
You're not walking out of there for less than 50. You're just not. It's not gonna happen.
For your cold pressed
We
juice.
kept the Whole
Yeah.
Foods prices and removed all of the choice, is what they've done. They just
They
shrunk it.
doubled the Whole Foods prices.
So it doubled the price,
Yeah.
fewer items.
One of those like Tupperwares of like pre-sliced mango is like $12.
Fuck you.
The Lambo Lab up there, right hand corner, Matt might like.
The Lambo Lab. What's that about?
Is this on YouTube or is this because we can't play it if it's on YouTube?
Yeah, it's embedded.
That's what I figured.
But it might be on Vimeo. Might be. Just
what is
search
the La-
Vimeo Lambo.
What is the
Lab.
Lambo Lab about?
The advanced, what is it? ACSL, Advanced Composite Structures Laboratory, or something like that. And it's in, yeah, there you go. It's the carbon fiber lab.
Oh, that makes the what do you call it? Compressed carbon fiber. Is that's Vimeo?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
That does all of the prototyping and R&D for any composite parts, pieces that go into Lamborghini.
The forged carbon fiber they're using now, I'm sure, is very much more cost efficient than the woven, but
all developed here.
it looks weird.
Yeah,
Doesn't it look kind of weird?
I think it looks better on the watch. This was a fun. I wanted to get use archive footage. It's weird not being able to hear it.
Is that archive Lamborghini mobbing?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is this from 60 minutes? Is this from the 60
Yeah.
Minutes thing?
Yeah.
That was an old video of a Countach going very fucking fast.
Right. So this is a group of Lamborghini owners that we did a little driving tour around Seattle, my truck. And this is Paolo, the guy who's responsible for the lab, and talking about, how,
Where is this lab?
this is in Seattle.
It is in Seattle.
This is 5 minutes away from my house.
Oh, I
back in the
did
day.
not. I did not know that this was happening in Seattle. Oh, how about that?
Right. So that's why I shot it, and then I showed it to Lamborghini. I'm like, "You guys interested?" And it kind of fell on deaf ears, but that was the risk I knew I was taking.
Mm-hmm.
It's 5 minutes away from my house. Those guys came out.
Why
and
do you think it fell on deaf ears? Do Do you think they do not want to play up a American thing?
Well, first, I think a lot of people don't know what it is that I'm trying to get out of it. Like, am I trying to, people don't know. They have to, with something like this, are they buying an eGarage piece, or are you giving us this content that we can then use however we want? Like, what I've been trying, my own business model has been kind of, trial. I haven't figured out what works yet.
Yeah.
This turned out to be a spec piece, which I've done, and then I try and show to brands that might be interested in afterwards. If nobody buys it, this is still solid content that continues to represent what I can do, and the portfolio lives on. It's getting to talk to old school, really important people in the industry has been one of the things that eGarage has allowed me to do. And
I like meeting those heavy hitter guys and finding out they're really chill.
yeah,
You just showed in that video we just saw his name Maurizio Regazzoni.
Yeah.
That guy's awesome.
yeah,
Hung out with him at Urus launch. He
Yeah.
rules. He had the pressed carbon fiber watch, the Roger Dubuis Lamborghini edition carbon watch.
Don't you think that the carbon looks better on the watch?
I do think it looks better on the watch. That Countach was very nice.
And the other thing is like these guys have never been on camera telling this story.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, not to get too sappy about it, but capturing stories that might not ever be told again or haven't been told yet is something that's incredibly compelling to me. These guys, they could show their family, and then they can see what daddy or their uncle used to do.
Yeah, that's great. I don't know if there's a business model there.
Well,
no, the
audience
risk,
of
like
grandkids.
it's the humanistic model. It's getting people to realize that the human story is worth spending money on.
Yeah, it is, man.
So a lot of guys. Well,
I don't
think
know if
about
anyone's spending money on it.
think
though.
about a lot of the guys who have built businesses around their passion for cars, or even like brands like Valvoline, who has been in the industry for 150 years, and they have access to millions and millions of people who already love their product. How do you market to those people? How do you do a soft sell to somebody for oil? Storytelling,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so we were with them for a while, and I hope to be with them again. But
They did a lot. They did a bunch of pushes last year, didn't they? Like they sponsored like a Glucker build. They were just Valvoline popped up on like half the YouTube channels I subscribed to last year.
Really?
Yeah, like Forsberg and those guys. Maybe it was 2017. Actually, did like
yeah,
a
they've
bunch
been
of
with them
builds.
for a while, and they're finding their way in the content game. A lot of these automotive companies are still relatively old school, and
They're so slow moving.
yeah, it's archaic.
And I burned some of the bridges for some of these people. I got very frustrated with their requests for super
Right.
fluffy content, and I
Right.
was just like,
Right.
get out of here. But it seems now they've finally come around to some of it, though. Maybe they have a new person I can harass.
Well, a lot of this is when you deal with companies like this, and you have agencies in the middle, and the agencies are there to punch a clock and act like they do something, and
justify
somehow
their own salary.
Yeah,
Or they're
exactly.
Justify their
Somehow
own salary.
seem like they're staying involved.
Yeah.
And in reality, in my best case scenario, the agency's like, we trust you, do what you do, let us know when you're done.
Yeah.
It doesn't
The
happen
people
all
who
the time.
get you
but-
cars are much more chill than the people who get you money. That's what I've found. It's usually easy to convince a car person that you deserve a car for a certain period of time, that your opinion is worthwhile.
And I'm not a born salesman. I'm not a born hustler. So I'm not used to being able to or needing to pitch people to buy something from me.
Yeah.
But I feel pretty good about where we're at, and I think we're poised well because of people's reduced attention span to digest. I don't want to be the guy who's making fucking 5 and 10 second things and getting any shorter than what we do now. But at the same time, I mean, Netflix is now 10-minute episodes of certain shows.
I cannot fucking stand social media anymore.
But where do you digest your content? Strictly on?
Where do I digest my content? Twitter is my gateway to a lot of stuff.
So
that I
if a
actually read.
video gets good enough traction, it'll wind up on your Twitter feed, and then you'll watch it.
Yeah.
No, well, Twitter, because you read a lot.
Because I read a lot. It's
so
different.
Twitter is like, for me too, like the funnel of articles, journalists, stuff like that, comedians and things, and then the visual. Instagram, like obviously is the visual medium. If you want to like advertise a longer video that's on YouTube, it's like, hey, the link's in the bio. I'm sure they'll add it to the comments soon because that's really annoying. Yeah, there's like those 3 big funnels. It seems like but I don't know. YouTube's too busy. You subscribe to 20 channels you like, but then which one gets put in front of you, and they promote other shit that's really annoying.
Right.
Like there's people who I know in real life who I'm friends with and would have dinner with or go out to the bar with and have a great time with. And when I see the way that people that I like and are chill like have to act in order to get people to watch their videos and like the shit they need to say and like the shit that needs to go in their Instagram caption, I'm like, that's not that person. Like that person's doing a job because that's how you get people to fucking like and subscribe. It's like that's not that person, right? You know what I mean? But that's why I watched that American Meme movie. Did you see that one yet?
God, infuriating.
Yeah, it really fucking made me hate social media.
But that's why I think it's important that I never intended to become any kind of influencer. I don't want to be. That's not what eGarage is about.
You want to go on them Mercedes events?
That was weird. That was the first time that I had been brought onto something in that, with that intention of writing and then using the social channels.
$5 rocks, first one's free.
Right.
Hey, how do you like this shrimp, Ben? Tastes good.
It's the peel and eat. You like this peel and eat?
But yeah,
this pig in a blanket?
A lot of people, I think, might have been confused. Like, well, is eGarage just something about Ben's collection or something? Like, is that what eGarage is? And it's like, it actually had absolutely nothing to do with my shit.
Well, that's the problem, isn't it? The problem with being a person who creates content but that also has cars of note is that, it can very quickly and easily just become about the shit that you buy and that you have that's in your garage, and whereas you're trying to talk about, as an expert or as a person of a certain experience, talk about, whatever it is trying to talk about, versus like, hey, look at my fucking thing.
Yeah, no, I'm not trying to make a commodity out of my car collection. Like, my car collection's for me.
So what's in your collection, man?
And so I can get mad followers on my personal Instagram. Who like seeing pictures of cars and my daughter. But no, I always wanted eGarage to be about other people's stories, man.
Yeah.
What's in my collection? You guys have been looking at it.
Yeah, no.
That dually's in my collection.
Is it on air?
No, that's static.
Why the fuck
dude.
not, bro? That's static.
Yeah.
That's a very low truck for not being adjustable. I really do like the big semi-truck wheel look, actually.
So awesome.
I think that
looks
works.
good.
Is the dually, did you convert the rear to one big fat wheel?
A single center? No.
The Phantom.
No.
Is that what it's called?
That's what it was called in the 90s. It was like a rumor I heard when I was in high school. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I think I knew him like the single dual or something like that.
Yeah.
Super single. Super single.
Super single?
Yeah.
It's like a 15-inch wide fucking rear tire.
I've got all.
Single dual sounds like the first draft of that name, and they were like, try again, Bill. Super single. There we go.
That's the hauling. I moved with that truck.
Of course you did. I'm jealous you get to have a trailer.
Oh yeah,
trailer is nice.
Yeah,
That's a good luxury to have, man.
Yeah.
We don't get to
I
have
love
them.
hauling.
We don't get to have them things.
I love hauling. There's something about just passing people on, hauling a rig and just tearing ass up an interstate.
Oh, you still have your crossbow?
So that's
he's pulling pictures out.
Yeah.
Ben he's got an Ariel Atom and a KTM crossbow.
Which was our first venture together.
Yeah. What year was that? Fucking 2011 maybe? 12?
Probably 12.
I drove that thing in the rain.
Yeah.
At a racetrack.
Ooh, it sounds fun.
It was more fun. I preferred it to the Atom. It felt more like a real
car. That doesn't want to kill you. The Atom
doesn't want to kill you.
The Atom wants to buck you off and show you what it can do.
Yeah, it does.
But that's what having a chassis designed by Dallara gets you with KTM.
Yeah, it's a full carbon chassis, right? Yeah. Can we talk? How do you get that in America? Do we know how to talk about that?
I mean, it's plated now. How I got it plated, is that the important part?
No, not really. But that is dry. How many of those are in America?
I don't know. I think they're I don't think there's any other street legal cars. I think there might be one or two others that are track purposes only.
It's pretty cool. It's a Volkswagen 2-liter. What is it, like 250 horsepower or something like that?
Yeah, I mean it's a little. You can mod it. It's the A4 2.0T. It's you can.
It's fairly. It's the whole front drive rig mounted behind the driver.
Right.
Yeah, pretty simple actually.
I kind of forgot about these cars.
They're really neat, and it felt much more like a real car than like an Atom did, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's very, very cool. There's a portion of my or a factor in my cars is rarity, like what you were talking about, just different things, but all having functional, reasons.
How many F-250s are there in the country? Like 4? I'm just being a dick.
This one ticks the rarity box, obviously.
Yeah,
and not that
all your cars tick the rarity box. You have the fucking Carrera GT, which is pretty rare.
Not anymore.
Fucking cool.
You got rid of that.
RIP.
And you got rid of the Koenigsegg, right?
Yes.
You had a Koenigsegg like when nobody had Koenigsegg's.
Before it was
actually,
cool.
Is it a CCR or CCX?
Yeah.
What was the difference between R and the X? The X was
consonant.
after the R, I think.
One letter. Yes, the X. The R was there was the CC8.
Yeah.
The CC8S.
Yeah.
And then the CCX came, and then the CCX. I think I'm right about this. I'm sure somebody will tell me if I'm not. Then the CCXR.
Yeah. CCR. And then the CCX Trevita, whatever
the back
that
of
is.
the wagon. It's the mini G in the back of the station wagon.
The daily driven E55 wagon.
Kleeman E55.
What did Kleeman do? Different blower upgrade?
No, that's that's got the diff and.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's a.
Did Kleeman actually
like
do things?
I think they built some big power shit, but looking back, like I read it when I was a kid, so were they more of like a bolt-on shop? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think they never could get their act together. Maybe they're still around. I mean, I think they.
I saw an SL 500 with a Kleeman blower on Bring a Trailer recently that I should have bought but didn't. It was not exactly like mine, but it had a supercharger on it, and it sold for like $16,000. Wow.
Yeah,
it ruled.
I think that they never could figure out how to get a dealer network set up and who could do their installs and all that things.
You need who's my homie? Oh, now I'm blanking. Who's the Hartmut?
Oh, yeah.
Hartmut.
Yeah.
Those guys are great.
Yeah.
He rules.
Yeah.
Right.
That's Buster, the Porsche bus.
Is that a famous bus?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's in front of Brumos, so that means it's a race car hauler?
It's theirs, yeah.
Ooh, that's cool.
Lee Keen is super tight with those guys.
Yes. Yeah, that's we've gotten to tell some. I mean, we shot with Lee. Lee drove the Nomad in our Nomad piece.
Oh yeah, I forgot you worked with him. Zach got to have a go in the Nomad for like 600 miles as well.
Awesome. Yeah.
I'm left out in this one.
They left it with me for like a week. And I drove to, I don't know the roads, off-roads around my spot that well, but I lucked out and I found a great one. And I found one with a puddle as tall as this freaking table. And I was by myself, not prepared, but I was like, fuck it, let's see what this thing can do. And I drove right through it, and I was soaking wet for the rest of the day, covered in muddy water.
You do that at the end of the day.
Drove back into town, stinking like mud water, with the biggest shit-eating grin on my face.
How fast did you go through the mud? Were you trying to skim across, or did you just go slow and through? Or?
No, it was somewhere in the middle, probably 8 to 12 miles an hour or something like that.
Like the Lamborghini in speed zone?
Just not willing to commit either way, basically.
I got
Wait,
bathed
this
in silt.
event you were with Mercedes, were you driving SLs? Oh, really? You fucking downplayed it like, I was doing a thing with Mercedes, not like I was on a Gullwing rally.
It's pretty rad.
Oh, yeah.
1,000 miles in a Roadster.
Who's Roadster?
Corporate.
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
How nice is that?
They have. They brought 2 cars from their collection, and the Classic Center just came out tough, dude. They come out with the 3 loaner cars on flatbeds, a full Sprinter van full of all their stuff. Like, they're keeping 58 cars on the road, or 48. I don't know, something. It was a lot. And not everybody needs them.
Yeah.
I think actually
Wait, so if you drive your own car on this event and have an issue, will they hook you up?
Yeah, full factory support, man.
Hell yeah.
I mean,
cool.
I think you got to probably pay for it afterwards, but ultimately, you know, if your car breaks, you should have to pay to fix it.
Yeah.
Whether it's on the road or not.
Yeah.
So I was impressed by what they did when they came out to service those cars, and what I was impressed about was the people who love putting thousands of miles on their 300 SLs. They ship their cars all over the world. They do things like the Copper State and all these open road rallies.
Aren't they nice to drive?
Yeah, it was really nice to drive. And the one of the weird things about the 300 SL is not everybody who has them are new owners, and they've only recently, it's been a pretty quick, steep curve, the appreciation value of that car. So a lot of these people might have, there were people in that room who bought them
in the
for
80s.
$17,000, you know, and are not in it for the money, and they're not rich because they have the car. They just happen to be in the room with, a lot of people who are and chose to as another car. It's an interesting spectrum of, the people
who's had versus who chooses to buy now.
It's funny that there could be a guy there that bought the SL like in the 80s for $17,000, and he can be talking to a guy that bought one a year ago, but that guy also bought Apple when it was $6, and they're like jealous of each other.
Yeah, right. Well, Dieter, his grandfather's his grandfather was the V mechanic to service one. So there's been these two SLs Gullwings in his family or one's a Roadster, one's a Gullwing for 50 years or so. And he drives it all the time. He let me have a go. I could fucking daily that car.
Exactly.
A lot of similarities to a 356, actually.
Yeah, with that swing axle. It's they drive similarly on kind of country roads, and so I felt right at home. It was easy for me to write about that when you're inspired by being surrounded by all those cars.
Yeah.
And Arizona roads. If you go to mb.com, the article's on there. It's a great collection of they're not my photos, but I don't know, they maybe it's mercedes-benz.com, I guess.
With a hyphen. The Gullwing is one of those cars that it really seems like the more stories it's got, like the more like battle, like I've seen cars, 100,000 mile original car, never restored, like looks all fucked up. It sells for like 1.3 million.
Right.
And then you have a perfectly restored one that's like mint, that's lovely, but been fully overdone, and it's like $900,000.
Yeah.
The more stories, the better with those cars.
Yeah, and I saw so scroll down. It should be it'll come up on the right. You'll see the I think it's on the right.
I've not ever clicked on my own media before.
Dude, it was the first time I've ever been published. Maybe it's fallen below the fold.
It's now it's under the fold. But you got the biggest picture though, so
nice.
Good for you. I like this tan one with the metal cool, like rock guards on the side and the fucking Rudge wheels. That rules.
It was my favorite there. And it's apparently got something like 100,000 miles on it.
Perfect.
It looks like it's been driven. It was under new ownership. The guy was stoked. He was a nice guy.
Those cars look really good without bumpers. Like the bumpers are fine, but they're really way better without bumpers. There's a dude here in LA who's got a 190 SL that he made kind of look like that race car you filmed. It's got no windshield, no bumpers, fog lights, steel wheels. It looks fucking cool.
Yeah.
It's probably slow, but it looks.
I like
looks
that
awesome.
people are building those now into
the
proper
period
cars.
rally cars. Yeah. Look up the 190 SL Rally from California. It's red. I don't know. Oh, there it is, right there. Petrolicious, right next to where your mouse is. To the right, to the right, to the right. That. Yes. Mm-hmm. Look at that. No fucking windshield. Fucking fog lights, yellow headlights, steelies. That is rad. Isn't that perfect? That's exactly the kind of old Mercedes you want.
Yeah, agreed. I like the. That's where I'm going, man. I showed you that 365. That I mean, it's just something about that era, 60s, 70s.
Well, this is probably 50s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking. That's how I know you're getting old, because you're talking about a 365 Ferrari.
It's 2 plus 2.
The gentleman's Ferrari.
Well, I don't want to pull up that car because I don't want other people to buy it. But
we can't talk about it too much. You got to buy it first, then come back and talk about it. We've fucked that up in here a bunch of times.
Yeah,
can't do that. Let's go to. We got a bunch of questions from folks. Let's get to
nice.
Some. I'm sure we got some car advice that needs given for the next 25 minutes. You might find You might find you relate a little bit. Aiden says, can you zoom in one more time, Zach? Aiden says, am I the only person that finds the Mark IV Supra overrated? If the car did not come with a superhero engine, then it would not be as popular. Huh. And if Emily Ratajkowski didn't come with those superhero tits, she wouldn't be as popular. Don't. Have you ever seen a track-sorted Mark IV Supra? Okay, a little bit to unpack here. I think the stock Mark IV Supra is mildly overrated. I don't think they're that cool. You got to make them really fucking fast for them to be cool. Now, if the car didn't come with a superhero engine, it did. That's why it's cool. Right?
Right.
CJ, have you ever seen a track-sorted Mark IV Supra? Yes, I have. More importantly, some bitch and drift ones.
Yeah.
Frederick Osbo broke into Formula Drift by winning with his Supra, and everyone looked at him like, oh, these things are too heavy, et cetera, et cetera. But when they're set up right, if you drive right, you can do a good job.
Yeah, and they also performed spectacularly well at standing mile events and standing half mile events for the last fucking 15 years.
And I think because I
you
love
ever
the
had one?
Supra, but
No.
I think they do have a little bit of a point. But there's plenty of other cars that are celebrated just for having one or two really good attributes. So we shouldn't look at this one it's the only one.
I would respond with, have you ever seen a properly sorted Supra on an airstrip? Because you see it in that format, and I would get behind the wheel. No, I wouldn't take it on a road course. It wouldn't be my first choice.
I bet road trip. They're also really reliable. There's a lot of six-figure Supras with six-figure mileage in the forums, and I think that's a rare thing.
Yeah,
and that's really cool to see.
They're dynamically unimpressive from the factory, but durability is a virtue. And so that's that. If you leave a Supra with stock horsepower level, it's gonna fucking run for a million years.
Yeah.
Oliver B says, I'm selling my manual M3 E92 to buy a house. What cheap fun car do I buy to replace it? Preferably not an MX-5 or BRZ. Manual and NA preferably. I mean, it's going to be cheaper. So manual NA, not a small roadster.
Mini.
And I guess a Mini. A Mini or a Fiesta ST, I suppose. But a manual
Civic Si,
a manual E92 M3.
He's
It's
paying
a
in
$30,000 car. You gonna sell that to buy a $20,000 car to buy a house? That doesn't really work. I think
He's going to need money for the house.
needs to be cheap.
He's
you
gonna
should
need
get a
money.
$6,000 car. Get
Right.
one of those 2000 Civic SIs we were looking at.
Yeah,
That's a great car. It's not rear-wheel drive, but he pretty much nixed all of those.
Yeah.
Unless he wants a Beat E36.
Mini
yeah.
Cooper S.
I mean, if he's got us, does he have a garage?
I don't know. Maybe at the new house.
He's paying in pounds, so I'm thinking Mini might be.
Good point.
An NA. I mean, look, all the Camaros and Mustangs in the world, brother. Oh, he's in pounds.
He's in pounds in Europe.
I drove an
E30.
I drove a Cooper S
325.
diesel. That was fun.
How was
that? Was
that?
a lot of fun.
Was it?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
That was a brand new, like a rental or
It was
something.
a rental.
I like the 06, the oldest ones. I think supercharger one. I'm about that. I don't know, man. You're talking about limited budget. You need that house. A Peugeot 205 GTI.
Yeah.
Wyron Felt says, "I'm now a watch and whiskey addict." You're welcome. Thank you. Von Frauenberg. Dave here, who had the Turo Alpha 4C. Okay. My question is, for a $50,000 budget, new or old, with the occasional trip to Miami, what are some ideas for the most rewarding ride? Practicality be damned. All right, so to the drive from Key West to Miami,
Isn't that just over the causeway? It's
it's
short.
30 miles an hour. You want like a 1967 Cadillac Eldorado, right? You want to cruise.
I like it.
That's a great choice.
That's like a straight road where it's very slow.
Yeah.
If you have a fast car on that road, you'd be very disappointed.
And then spend the other $40,000 on the girls to come with you.
Right. Or, a 66 Eldorado on bags.
Yeah.
Detroit steel wheels.
Yeah, dude. Especially because once you get over the causeway and into Miami, people are nuts. I mean, I'm from New York. I have a pretty high standard for what's nuts on the road. South Florida is really bad.
Yeah, it's the land of crazy.
Really bad.
Yeah.
So I like that idea of being in something really big and really slow.
Yeah. Land yachts. Look, think land yachts. That's where I'm at with that, right? And 50,000 buys you a lot of land yachts.
If he's
got
got
to have one of those Continental Series 2s. Those
Really
things
nice.
fucking smash. Like a Lincoln Continental. Oh, that
Plus,
would be
he's got a
fire.
4C, so he doesn't need another small fun.
Oh, he got it on Turo and he came here. I think. He really had a glutton for punishment there. I don't know where this person's from. Byung-chan. I think that's correct. From South Korea. Thank you for a great show. Your choice on turbo versus supercharger for a 2014 FRS manual, mainly daily driver, track time maybe twice a year. I say supercharger.
Always.
Rotrex supercharger is like 280, 290 at the wheels. Beautiful. Runs cool. It was a very nice package.
Nice power band, right?
Yeah, nice and linear.
Yeah.
Like the dent in the middle is gone. Just nice and linear.
Have you driven a twin turbo 4GT versus a supercharged 4GT?
I have.
Or a Gallardo?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
It's so much more pleasurable to drive a
The
supercharged
supercharged cars, yeah. The supercharged Huracans that Nick is building in VF right now are fucking beasts. They're great.
Yeah, I just have. I mean, I don't care if you've got 1,100 horsepower in your TTF GT. It's not as enjoyable.
Wasn't yours
to drive.
turboed at one point?
No, I've only done just up belt and pulley upgrades.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, he's got that blacked out 4GT that fucking rules.
Love it.
Yeah, those are great. Brandon says a seat recommendation he's looking for a C5 Corvette Z06. I hate the stock seats. I'm 6'2" and 220.
Attaboy, me too.
Corvettes like Corbeaus. Corbeau seats seem to fit well. The problem with Corvettes the problem I had anyway, was the actual pocket that the seat goes in is really tight. And if you want to have a slider, it raises the seat up pretty high, higher than the standard Corvette seat. So for me, it depends. If you're 6'2", you may have to pick a spot and bolt your seat down. And also the racing seats that have like the wings up by your shoulders, those can actually be too wide for a Corvette because it's got that roll bar B-pillar thing. Corbeaus tend to fit better than like Sparcos or Recaros in Corvettes, just so you know. But you may have to bolt it to the floor and you may not have a slider, but that may be what you want. Toon Squad says, we've been trying to think for shirt ideas for the Blip Shift store. We had a meeting. We had an actual meeting and came up with some ideas, and Blip Shift used none of them. I'm just kidding. They used a couple. I would buy the shit out of an 80s Countach shirt to wear at Radwood. Don't worry. I got your Countach shirts right here. They're coming.
I'm sure they are.
They're coming. There's a Countach shirt in the pipeline, I promise. A lock Bander car. I think that's right. Thanks for telling about the Dollop. There you go. The Dollop podcast is awesome. American History podcast. Where do you go for reviews of regular all-season tires? Deciding between two sets of $90 tires is hard. Oh. Where would you go for regular tires? Just Tire Rack consumer reviews?
Tire Rack.
Tire Rack does a lot of testing. Like you can actually... they're experts. They have a skid pad. They have like an autocross. They actually do tire testing at Tire Rack.
And they measure... road noise at speed X and Y and rain grip and stopping distance. Like it's all quantified, which is very helpful.
Plus, don't lose too much time deciding on $90 tires.
True.
You've got better things to do.
Get the quietest ones.
Just pull the trigger on something.
Hashtag
sure
just get the
fine.
Michelins. But no, yeah, they're probably going to be similar. Yeah. But I would look at Tire Rack's objective. They're pretty objective, actually. Shout out to Tire Rack. They also... disclaimer, got me the tires for my Safari car, the BFG ATs, KO2s. Mountain Salsa says, I have a stock Fiesta ST, thinking about doing -1 wheel and tire combo to improve ride quality. Would there be any negative side effects? Your turn-in may seem a little less sharp. That's all. Other than that, probably not.
Yeah.
I encourage that, by the way. -1 is good for ride quality. Justin says, oh, hi, Justin. It's that Justin. Commuting 20 miles to San Francisco daily in traffic. I don't care about miles per gallon or practicality. Budget is a $700 a month lease or buying something under $50. The vehicle would only be used for commuting. What do you commute in traffic for under 50 grand, but you don't care about fuel economy?
Haven't you gotten this question before?
Probably.
Yes, but we'll answer it again for $20.
Yep, I'll answer it again. True.
I feel like I heard this question already.
Yeah, I get a variation of this question a lot. I mean, if you're in San Francisco, a Tesla is really important.
If I was just sitting in traffic, I mean, I would go electric because, like we've talked about, you're calmer driving around.
Yeah.
But I'd also, or just find something that the cruise control will go to 0 and then go back up to whatever speed, and just it will move with traffic for you. It doesn't have to be a Tesla, but just anything that makes that an easier 20 minutes. 20 miles.
Like you could actually do like an e-Golf or a Volt, or
e-Golfs feel nice.
Even an i3.
What about the e-tron? Does anybody like the e-tron?
It's not out yet, and when it is out, it will not be $700 a month. Oh, the A3? Yeah, if you mean electric A3 is the same as an e-Golf, yeah. Yeah, Justin, I know you don't care about miles per gallon, but actually sitting in traffic in an electric car is genuinely nicer than sitting in traffic in a gas car. It just is. So I would say get a fucking sweet EV if you can.
Yeah.
X-Racer 15 says, I'm looking for a newer diesel SUV in the States. The only option I see is the Grand Cherokee. Are there other options? And has Fiat buying Jeep helped the reliability and build quality issues? Second part first. Reliability with Fiat or Jeep? Which I'm not sure what he means. Like, I think build quality on Jeep is pretty decent, right?
Yeah,
I think it is.
I don't know. For all the cars we drive are brand new, so it's hard to comment on how they age and how they hold together.
Yeah,
everything's felt very buttoned up when they're new. I will say that.
Yeah, has it helped Fiat? No, not really.
What is a newer diesel SUV?
So he probably is referring to one of the German ones, the Audi or the Porsche, or so. All of those are discontinued.
The Touareg never gets any love. I'm a Touareg guy.
Are you?
I've got a V10 Touareg as well.
Oh, really?
That's my daily, yeah.
I've heard maintenance is a nightmare, but the torque is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, maintenance hasn't been bad. I squeezed myself into a extended warranty, which came in handy. But otherwise, they're a pain in the ass to work on. Mm-hmm. I'm not working on them, so it doesn't really affect me.
Right.
But I do, I love it. I'll drive that thing into the ground. But I mean, even the ones that came after it, the V6 TDI Touaregs were a great rig. My wife's got a Q5 TDI that I absolutely love, and I think... I'm sad about the Q7s.
Last I checked, all the German diesel SUVs did not.
Have you guys
pass.
talked about Monkeygate? What's it called? The
Monkeygate.
The Dieselgate.
Oh.
with the monkeys. Have you guys talked about that on air yet?
No.
Not
Catch me up. What monkeys? What are you talking about?
It's a great story, right?
Well,
did you? Well, yeah. I mean,
I heard about it through the Dieselgate shows and stories, and so I would say that the way that particular event is portrayed in those videos is not great.
It's not. It's a sad story.
Fucking horrible.
It was the Dirty Money series on Netflix. They did something on this. It was about Dieselgate, but it was what they did they enlisted some testing company to basically give them reports that their emissions were clean.
Oh, and they gassed monkeys, I imagine?
And they gassed monkeys.
Oh.
They were trying to be like, look how clean it is, and then the monkeys still die because it's exhaust.
Yeah.
And if there's ever a bigger faux pas than a German testing company
gassing monkeys. Yeah.
Gassing anything.
I'm 100% with you on this one.
I'm surprised that they kept it as suppressed.
Volkswagen gas monkeys?
Yeah. Well, no, the third party, what they claimed ignorance, like, oh no, we didn't know.
Oh, we did not know about the gassing of the monkeys. Yeah. Sure, they didn't know. Just following orders, they said.
I can't believe someone greenlit that
that's
shit.
fucked up. Well, I would say you shouldn't buy a car from them.
It makes I feel okay because my Touareg was before any of that shit happened.
Of course, they never did anything wrong in the 30s and 40s. I had someone fucking lose their shit on me on fucking Twitter because I said that I didn't want to buy a Volkswagen Golf R because of the diesel thing. I was like, I don't think they're corporate responsible. And then someone said, you have a Ford. What about the Pinto thing? And I said, the Pinto thing was like 6 years before I was born. Like, I don't think those people are still working there. There's not really much. Yeah. This was like 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's a little fresh.
It's a little fresh. And then they called me a hypocrite. And we're like, I'm unfollowing you. All right, cool, bye. See you. That was that. And that was the end of that. Then they unfollowed.
There needs to be a statute of limitations with egregious things like this. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because by that
years.
person's logic, there's some Holocaust that needs to be discussed in regards to Volkswagen.
But I do have mixed feelings. I agree with what you're saying. Like I love Mercedes. What they were doing during that time is not the company they are now.
Yeah.
However, it really only a question gets added when I start looking back at vehicles in that era where they were doing bad shit.
Like the 6x6?
Like even a BMW bike from 1944, just like that would be something like that. But having to think about why that was brought here in the first place and to do what it would, do what it was doing.
Right.
That's like, okay, now I'm adding another layer of support that I feel like I should
I don't
lay
think
off
we
of.
need any Third Reich cars in our collections. We can probably go without that.
Right.
Yeah.
Someone will be like, oh, but the steering feel is amazing.
You guys, the 1941 Mercedes 6x6 is really where it all started. Let's see. Fellstone Nick says, thoughts on the new GT500? I love that it's a supercharged Voodoo motor. That's not exactly true.
It's cross-plane.
Did you see the new GT500 today, Ben?
Yeah.
It's more than 700 horsepower. It looks rad. It's got optional carbon fiber wheels and a GT4, a fucking GT4 wing, and an Audi mouth or Focus RS mouth. Focus RS mouth.
That's amazing.
Looks good though.
Yeah, and it's a 5.2 liter V8, but it's cross plane, as Zach said. It's not flat plane. It may share cylinder head architecture with the 350, which would be very fucking cool. I bet it will be a delight to drive. And a Tremec dual clutch 7-speed gearbox. Tremec and dual clutch are two words that you want to hear next to each other for sure.
Yeah.
Means
I wish
it'll
I
probably
could put
work.
that in my Camaro.
You might be able to one day. He's got a fucking Nelson motor Camaro, 69 Camaro.
I like that guy, Tom Nelson.
Nuts.
He has fun.
Yeah.
It's got a motor
in all the best ways.
so
nuts.
they can wirelessly update tunes.
Really?
Yeah, it's got a hotspot because
cool.
to have like live test and tuning, so he can remote in
That's really cool.
I was telling him, it was a very hard car to shake down. You can't get out, we're in like a 700 horsepower setting right now. Boost is turned all the way down. And that's where you have to start. Not only do I believe that you start driving a really fast car slow, and that's how you should do it, but especially when something like that. I mean, that car, I honestly think, I probably shouldn't say this, but I honestly think that car is capable of a 250 mile an hour mile.
How much
and I don't want to drive it for that.
How much power
back out at 2. I mean, it's a 2,000 horsepower motor.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
Yeah,
with the boost turned up, even to a reliable place. I mean, that's like 33 pounds or something.
What
like
is it
that.
on pump gas? Because it will run on pump gas, right?
Yeah. It runs both. It's it's on pump gas. I don't know, probably 170, 180, 190 half mile.
Fast. I drove Josh Kalis's car, which is like it's very well sorted.
He just redid it.
This is probably 2 years ago.
Yeah,
so what did he just redo?
I don't know. It's better now.
Oh.
Josh
it
is
worked
my
fucking
homie.
perfectly fine when I drove it. It was incredibly fast. I think it was 1,400 or 1,500.
I can't wait. I want to line up with Josh and be like air high five and then take off.
I can't even imagine what an extra 400 horsepower would be like, or 500 horsepower.
I had that Ultimate Aero, right? So I know it like.
You had an Ultimate Aero.
1,300 horsepower feels like I know what that is.
Yeah.
And this feels way faster, and I haven't even been able to turn up the boost yet. It's crazy. Josh's car is the truth.
That was one of the best rides I've ever been on.
I call my car is literally named The Truth, but I call his car The Truth.
His car has got a different aero kit on it and stuff. It's got a different hood, I think, than last time I saw it.
Yeah, he just finished doing some really nice stuff. I can't wait to see it out on
that car is so fast.
Yeah.
That fourth gear was really a fucking ride.
I feel bad because my car hasn't really seen the light of day since the build's been done, because I haven't had I don't have the time to take it to those events.
Yeah.
Whenever there's none close to me. And so I'm going to have to dedicate myself to, okay, this season I'm going to there, and really getting this car nailed down. Like, but that's what I've done.
Come on down. Shift sector will have you. Coalinga. Use the right lane. It's a little less dusty.
GT500 is going to be rad.
Yeah.
It's going to be cool. I'm very excited for it. I'm sure it'll drive great.
It probably won't be as focused as the ZL1, but it'll be better to live with, I think, all around.
Yeah.
Just based on...
I hope it's not too stiff, which there's a chance it could be, but I hope it's not.
Was the 350R too stiff?
It was pretty stiff. I mean, it wasn't too, like, it wouldn't
on a track, did it feel correct, though?
No, on a track it's right. Yeah,
Okay.
on smooth roads it was good, too, but in the fucking, by my house, it's like off-roading, so I get very sensitive to shit like that.
Yeah,
Hence,
that makes
off-road
sense.
911.
Fucking bumpy streets.
R and Dumble says, Zach, how do you get over stage fright in front of the camera? Do you practice, or are you able to just shut it off?
You just do it. I don't know. I think doing stuff like this for 10 years helps, but it's not always off. Sometimes I'm nervous. I'm nervous on the inside. Nervous on the inside.
The camera's
You just do it.
Yeah.
I hate him. I hate him.
You do?
I would so much rather be behind him. But yeah, that's why this is the second time I've ever done a fucking podcast, and the first one wasn't.
Well, the video adds an element of,
but it doesn't matter. I mean, I think it's about being confident in yourself and why you're in the room.
It's I started taking pictures because it got me out of being in pictures, because I really didn't like how I looked in pictures so much that being behind the camera got me out of being in all these pictures when I was younger.
Right.
It's odd that it's gone the other way now.
I always used to tell guys
Never
who
got comfortable,
who
really.
would come with me to an event, a hoity-toity event with a lot of dressed-up people, and they felt like they didn't belong, and I'd be like, act like you belong here, and then eventually, once you start to, you'll eventually start believing it.
Yeah, totally. Steven says, I love where you parked the 356. How does it drive? Where'd you park it?
Oh yeah, you guys pull that up. So I've got, I was telling you this earlier, I've got 2 living rooms and a car parked in each.
Oh yeah.
And so you got to scroll up, up.
Car in living room.
Yeah,
is exceptionally
I
pimp.
just finished building a house, and one of the things I knew I wanted to do was to at least park a bike in the living room, and I lucked out, and I managed to build 2 door openings, double doors, that were wide enough to get both the 356 and the 27 Ford in the living room.
Yeah, that's just perfect. How do you not want a car in the living room? One of my favorite houses in Detroit, this dude Chet parked his Ford GT in the living room. It was boss as hell.
Yeah. That's a wide door opening. Luckily, mine were both pretty narrow, and it just works. Luckily, my wife is understanding.
What if you want to drive it?
I'd back it out. The 356 is parked at grade. The 27 is parked up some ramps. You're getting there.
Oh, there it is. Wow,
Yeah,
that's
there's the 356.
That's in the living room.
Yeah, that's that's the mother-in-law.
Wait, so the door right in front of the car, you just drive it out?
Yeah,
Oh, perfect.
yeah.
That's so rad. Yeah, if I ever build a house, 100% parking in the living room. Yeah, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Shit is rad.
Super easy, man.
Yeah.
Do you
And
back it in, or
it
you
looks
push
great
it in
from the outside.
because like exhaust smell?
I always, I roll it out and in.
Is it permitted for that?
What?
Of course.
It's like,
Why
it's
wouldn't
a
the
house.
answer?
What, is the house permitted to park a car inside? They don't
Yeah,
ask
no.
those kind of questions.
I guess not.
Yeah.
They would in California. They don't in fucking Seattle.
I
That's
might have a shot of
boss.
the 27 parked inside if you keep going up. I think. Yeah, actually, so the wood siding picture, you
Yeah.
can see the car in the
Oh
house
yeah,
from the outside.
look at that. That is so Instagram worthy. Mr.
Yeah.
Petrolicious.
For the grams, dude.
Yeah.
You got to live life for the grams.
That's fully
to answer the
gram-worthy.
question, how does the 356 drive? I think the 356 drives. It's like it's spirited. It's loud. You kind of get tossed in the seat a little bit. It's not an insulated experience. I mean, the Countach hugs you more than a 356 does.
It does.
And it's I don't know. You kind of feel like the steering wheel is huge, and you're along for the ride. I love
also
it.
kind of feels like a 911 in some ways.
Yeah, you can feel that it's
the
an
lineage.
ancestor.
Yeah.
You know,
It's slow. The Emery one's probably not, but regular ones are slow.
Emery one is not slow.
Yeah. Pure Hard Style says R32 GTR or Mark IV Super Turbo. We answer this every show, and it's the same. GTR. Mm-hmm. It's the same. Well, we do international one takes. Cough it up. Someone's got to pay for that.
Australia seems like the greatest place in the world for cars.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's
their
what they
culture's
said.
insane. They said they'd love to experience Aussie culture. Yeah, of course. We just
Someone
need a
needs
way
to pay
get
for
there.
it. Let's see. Dimitri says, I've been to every place in Philly that you recommended. There you go. I think he went to Drexel. I think that was him. I'm glad you've been everywhere in Philly and that it's walking distance. Good for you, sir.
He did that in a week.
The places I recommended were not that far. Nicolas says, thoughts on a year-round daily driver in Ohio with occasional track work, $25,000 to $30,000. E90 M3 or 2016-17 Mustang GT. Well, I don't know how much those cars are exactly, but with that M3, you better have a bunch left over, and you better get a good PPI.
Yeah.
Are brand new Mustangs significantly cheaper than BMWs to work on? Like a brand new Mustang?
I don't mean to have repaired or
Yeah.
I don't know. It
You'll
seems
have a
like
warranty,
they're
though.
well, you'd have a warranty, which is huge, and then also if you went to like a 15 Mustang, it seems like the consumables are just cheaper. They're less complicated cars than an M3 is,
Yeah.
so there's fewer things to break.
Yeah.
It brings up that larger discussion about, the whole service industry and what that future is going to be. If you really want to get meta about it, you can think about, a dealer has to charge more per hour of labor than an independent shop might.
Yeah.
But is that labor worth any more? And could you go to an independent shop who's charging $85 an hour instead of $125 an hour or something like that?
You also got to think that when the E90 came out, like take the MSRP of that the year it came out, and in today's money compared to the
it's like
17
$80,000.
Mustang, it's half price. So it's probably less complicated. There's fewer things to break because it's a less expensive car.
Yeah, I mean, year-round daily driver to me, warranty is very appealing. I'm thinking warranty, and Mustangs are fun as fuck on snow
are.
tires. Just so you know, they really are fun on snow tires.
That'd be amazing.
They are, yeah. Peter Stella says, me and Musto mentioned a podcast that pro touring builds tend to sell for pennies on the dollar. Any advice as to where those kinds of builds are offered for sale? I didn't
know
say
about that.
penny on the dollar, but significant discounts. One of them is this coming weekend. Fucking Scottsdale auctions.
Yeah.
Any day at a Scottsdale auction that isn't Friday or Saturday. The Thursday at like Mecum, you can get a cheap pro touring car. Where would you look for a cheap pro touring car?
You're absolutely right. There's plenty of guys out there who have spent a lot of money building up a car just how they want it, and then for one reason or another decide to part. And there's deals everywhere. I mean, you could look on Hemmings and find deals if you want to. But yeah, the auctions in Arizona are a good place to start.
Yeah, but the bottom line is if there's a guy who spent 2 or 3 years doing a build, putting a cool motor in, and maybe you see a car that, okay, the wheels are different from what you would put on, or maybe it's a different color, or maybe something is not how you would have it, but you could change it for a reasonable amount of money to the way you like it. Like, definitely buy someone else's finished project instead of...
Also, look at the off-branded auctions, like the lesser-known auctions that are in weird places around the country, and you'll find plenty of built cars that never make it to Barrett Jackson.
Yeah, Russo and Steele also. Russo and Steele is really fun. I recommend them. Quinn18T says he read on Camisa's Instagram that a bunch of people at Road and Track got laid off. Do you have any inside baseball information you can share? I don't. I'm sorry to say I don't. I know Travis Sikulski got promoted to editor-in-chief, which is good for me.
He's a good guy.
He's a good guy. I'm more than pleased to work for him as long as he will have me. And I'm going on the McLaren 720S Spider launch in 2 weeks for Road and Track. So my job is not a regular job, but I still have whatever it is that I had.
Right.
I have no inside baseball. I don't go to Ann Arbor. I got nothing for you, but I'm still doing a story for them in a week and a half. So, Rafaz says, do I regret selling my newer cars and buying older ones given the breaking down lately? There are some awesome deals out there, but the headaches keep me away. I'm very fortunate. I get press cars, and so if the cars are all down, I still have like something I can drive. So for me, I have a bit of a charmed life, and no, I don't regret if I look at what I spent to lease a Focus RS every month versus the total cost to maintain my Mercedes SL 500 for fucking 2 years, I've spent nothing on the Mercedes, like nothing. It spent like, I don't know, 3.5 months, 4 months lease payment on a Focus RS to have this Mercedes for 2 years. So like, no, I think it's fine.
This is, I mean, I've
You've got old cars and new
sold
cars.
Stuff. Both my daily drivers are 10 years old.
Yeah.
I find it's like women. All respect to women, but someone said you're going to pay for them before, during, or after. If women are your thing, that is, I guess. If you could spend the money, swapping cars, trying to find the right one for years and years and years, and if there's something out there that you're looking for that's vintage and that would hit the hammer on your head for you, and you'd be privileged to own it for the next 5 years or 10 years or however long it lasts, spring for that, because it's going to bring you joy in your life, rather than thinking this is a stepping stone to joy and it's all about saving money. In reality, you're going to probably, if you've got the car bug and you're trying to chase something, whether it's a different experience or a faster car, an older car, whatever it is, you're going to spend the money. You're going to end up spending it. It's all going to go anyway. So, and I've learned you can't regret selling anything. Yeah. You can't.
Well, when I had my Crown Vic, I remember getting it, and every time I was going to go on, and I took many road trips, it was a work thing. I put 20,000 miles on that car in a year or something. And there was a calm that came over me of I know that nothing will go wrong with this, because the reputation, all that shit. And that was basically true 99% of the time. With my car now, if I was going to go and do 2,000 mile road trips, I would definitely, every time I get in it, go, well, I hope no check engine lights turn on this 2,000 mile road trip, But I also am very happy I bought my M3, and I love it, and I have way more fun with it, to your point, than the Crown Vic. But there's definitely a little part of me that goes, I do miss just going, this is a fucking brick, and it's never going to break.
Right.
Yeah, well, and this is the difference. If you buy the car right, if you buy the right car at the right time, then ideally your cost to own it is just your repair bills and your consumables. Whereas if you buy a brand new car, most of the time that car is going to immediately go 20% to 30% the second it goes off the lot. Mm-hmm. You're making payments. There's interest on those payments. All of this means that even if that new car works perfectly, your net in out is a big chunk of cash that if you roll the dice and go wrong, you could spend more than that maintaining your old car. But odds are, if you buy the right car, you get to keep a lot of that money.
Yeah, good points.
And then if you're lucky, you can maybe make a little profit on the car if you're lucky. But that's the idea. So no, I had a week where all the cars were in the shop, and now all the press cars are gone and all the cars are at home. So the ebb and flow.
Garage looks good, man.
The garage looks good.
Should be very proud.
The garage is not fucking yours, but it's unlimited by space. Tyler says, after watching Zach's video on the Civic Si, I picked up a 2019 Si and I'm loving it. Fun car, still great daily. Zach, did you find the pedal spacing difficult for heel toe driving?
I honestly can't remember because it was so long ago. I don't remember it standing out as being a big problem. I just remember the clutch being way too light. That's all I remember about the pedals, frankly.
Honda clutch is very light.
Yeah.
Barry says, is Ben's Black 4 GT a factory black no stripe car?
It is.
Is it?
It is.
Is it gloss black? I thought it was matte black. Did you wrap it at one point?
My first Ford GT was wrapped matte black.
Okay.
One best car at the gumball.
Ooh, yeah.
That'll be my sending something into space for now. That car experienced an unfortunate demise, and I had to have another one, but it was also, the second one's a gloss black, no stripe car.
I like the no stripe. Quicksilver no stripe is my dream.
Yeah. I love the no stripe.
They basically don't exist. Good taste, my friend.
Thanks, man. The only thing that I think looks better than a black no stripe 4 GT is a white no stripe 4 GT.
I don't know if I've ever seen a white no stripe.
Yes, so, I mean, it's...
Can you give me a white
that
no stripe
amazing
Ford GT?
At night.
How many of those do they make? There can't be very many.
Super incredible. I've seen them very, very sparingly. But
you got to look at the old one now because there's a new one.
It's going to be...
There's a new white no stripe, which is just messing everybody up.
Can we talk about that, the whole application process and thing?
Did you apply? And? Nada?
And then they had the nerve.
Oh, look at that. White no stripe. That really does work, doesn't it? That looks the most like the 60s.
Then they had the nerve to say, oh, we're going to make more.
Yeah.
Do you want to apply again?
That's like that Subaru Type RA that came out last year, the ultimate STI, and then now there's a new STI with more power and a bigger turbo.
I mean,
what a kick in the dick.
I'm not holding a grudge on it, and if they didn't want to pick me, that's fine. I understand. But they can't pick everybody. But to do it the way they did it, I think it shows just like a failed launch or something. Like
Ford has a habit of bungling launches.
Yeah.
They fucking bungled the GT350 launch. They bungled the Focus RS launch. This car, even the Centennial Edition, the 0406 Ford GT wasn't launched to great fanfare the way it should have been.
with
Ford,
black wheels.
Ford has a habit of doing those sorts of things. Have you driven one?
No.
I don't think you'd like it that much.
You're the third person that I actually trust that's told me that.
Yeah, I don't think you'd like it that much. I
so
enjoyed my
sad
8 hours with it for sure.
Yeah.
But when I gave it back, I was not going. I feel like we have similar tastes, and I was like not going. Oh, I need to have this.
Right. I'm not too. I sent them a strongly worded email telling them where they could send their second application. No, I mean, I think
to Shmee 150.
I've heard that it's small in there. I'm clearly moving towards more analog driving experiences anyway.
It's very, very race car. It's a homologation race car.
I live in the woods on farms now. Like it doesn't work on the country roads. I used to piss people off driving the Carrera GT around.
Yeah,
it's like I don't want to do that
anymore. Instead
of
that, buy an RS 200 and be happier.
It'll never run.
Or a Lancia 037 will also never run.
We've got a nice video coming out on an 037.
I saw pictures of a red one on your Instagram or something.
It was really fun, dude. I got to ride Alistair McRae driving my Atom with me sitting shotgun up Maryhill Loops Road. Have you been to Maryhill Loops Road in Washington? It's
what's that?
It's I don't know how much time we have.
Whatever.
The Good Roads movement in like the 30s, I want to say. The point was to try and show that we could build kind of functional, fun roads, and it was somehow supposed to be a boost for American manufacturing and labor and all this stuff. So the first road as part of that movement, I think, was the Maryhill Loops Road, done by a landowner developer guy whose last name was Hill and his wife's name was Mary, so it's Maryhill Loops Road. Pull up a picture, an aerial shot of the road.
Oh, it's
ridiculous.
You'll know it as soon as you see it. Yeah.
Things have been shot there.
Okay.
We're not the first ones. But what it excels at now is downhill skateboarding because it's so tight and so twisty that
I've seen this before.
Cars will go off.
Yeah. I've seen it
and we shot there
cool.
a couple of months ago, and a car had gotten off, and the whole side of the mountain was charred.
No,
that was gnarly.
That could start a big fire.
But yeah, riding shotgun in an Atom with somebody who can drive it up that road. I'm not a good passenger. I don't know how good of a passenger you are, but
not good.
I closed my eyes a couple of times.
Yeah, no, I prefer to be driving, but that comes with the territory. That road looks awesome.
I think they did that Car versus Bike 2 video there. Remember that with like the cop in the Mustang chasing the bikes and shit. Like that was one of the early videos of this, and they've done a bunch of drift stuff on there too.
Yeah.
It looks beautiful.
Yeah.
It's good. Curves.
Fiesta versus Focus, pros and cons. Man, we answer this every single fucking show. Fiesta is lighter, and that's pretty much it. Lighter and cheaper, and the Focus is heavier and a little bit bigger, but not that much bigger. The Fiesta's better.
This question we were just talking about.
Alex says, we were talking about this. Alex says, I'm interested in starting an enthusiast car club with a few friends so we can share a small fleet. Any tips on how to set this up?
So can I plug?
Yes.
So there's a guy in Seattle, shout out Adam, who's doing a thing called Avants, AVANTS. And the idea, I think, started around being able to share cars, but it's evolved into something much more than that. And, it's what I say is it's the forums IRL. Like it's the modern day face-to-face internet forum for enthusiasts to get together, share information, learn stuff, and also possibly in a controlled environment in some kind of course like an autocross track or something, get rides and be able to drive, swap keys with other enthusiasts. So that his Drive Everything events are like, you want to come with me or do you want to drive, and etc. So it's usually, I think he's doing something really interesting, which is, I'm not sure what the viewer was talking about, but this is the closest thing I've seen to that. Cars. I don't think you can, if you want to just share a group of cars with a group of friends, then start a car club and call it, my friend's car club. But
I mean, from the lawyer inside me says, if you want to start a club where you can share a fleet of cars, you should all start a LLC of some kind, a corporation. The corporation then owns the cars, and then all the members of friends are own equal shares in the corporation. And then you'd have commercial insurance on the cars. I mean, that would be a fucking pimp thing to do. It's going to be a lot more expensive than this person thinks it's going to be.
Right.
Because the insurance is going to be crazy expensive on something like that.
Yeah, I don't know what a small fleet is or what he wants out of a car club.
And how are you going to drive, and what are you going to do about like maintenance on these cars? Do you each own them individually? Like, you're going to have to work out that stuff, and it could get messy with friends. I mean, it really, if hey, did you break the 240? No, I didn't. You drove it before I did. But
yeah, and good luck in getting insurance to cover some kind of obscure plan that has an LLC as an owner for all these cars.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, it's the other way is to get the most expensive insurance you can get on your cars and make sure that comprehensive use includes your friends being allowed to drive the cars. That can happen.
Well, that's what happened to me in that Ford GT. Was I tossed the keys to somebody because he was interested in driving and he wanted to buy one, and he wrecked it in 5 minutes.
Oh my God!
And luckily, insurance did exactly what it was supposed to do.
Yeah.
But I got dropped from my insurance company after that.
Well, that's why you need
and
that.
There's only so
commercial
many insurance companies to go around.
Yeah.
So they called me a permissive owner. I was like, well, the guy had a good car. He could afford it. So I'm generous. I thought.
Yeah,
didn't know that was gonna
that's
happen.
why you need the LLC.
But it definitely happened.
Yeah, for sure. Do it legal. Blake says thoughts on buying the this is okay. We get versions of this a lot. Thoughts on buying a WRX and spending extra money on upgrades versus spending the extra for the WRX STI. Ben, do you want to take this one? Because
I mean, listen, I feel like I've had the modification bug since I started buying cars and knowing I wanted to modify them and make them mine. I think you have to decide if you want it. Chances are, if you're asking this type of question, you're not going to be satisfied on just even the STI. You're probably going to want to spend money up top over that to keep making it faster and chasing performance anyway. And again, those parts aren't going to come back to you. You're not going to get that money back. People look, if you're trying to sell a modified car and then part it out, it's always a pain in the ass. People aren't going to be willing to spend the same dollars you've spent on building a car, whether it's to STI spec or not. I would say get the STI.
I think if you have the bug, then the most important thing is you start with the most durable platform that they'll sell you. So if that means BMW, start with the M3. If that means Subaru, you start with the STI, because the hardware behind the extra horsepower is beefed up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just starting at a place of higher durability.
Right.
That next guy's question, I'm not going to fucking answer.
Nice.
Because if you want to ask about Ferrari F40 buying advice, it's going to cost you more than $5, motherfucker.
Right. Versus a Z4 GT.
He's asking us to help him pick $1 million car.
Or a restored 87.
Yeah, that's not a real question.
Yeah.
Alex says wants Ben to discuss the experience owning and driving the SSC Ultimate Aero. Additionally, do you have any insight into the new SSC? Is it Tuatara?
Something like that.
Tuatara?
Tuatara.
Not Tuatara?
Yeah, I'm happy that I did it. Again, I don't regret it, but
they didn't build a lot of those cars.
No, I think they built 13.
Yeah.
And I appreciate what Jared's trying to do. I do. I think that with Jason Castriota helping, he's in a position of strength that he wasn't in with the Ultimate Aero. But
Ultimate Aero looks a little bit like a sad Diablo.
Yeah. But if you drive it, it's like one of those cars that will make you giggle the whole fucking...
This is a fucking missile, right?
The greatest thing about the Ultimate Aero was the blow-off valves right behind your head, and it would sound like a TIE fighter. Pew, 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 pew. It was... Everybody who rode in the car, would start laughing. Was it, made well? It had classic interior quality issues and stuff, but, I didn't have it for long enough to know whether it was going to be really durable. It's not like panels were falling off.
Yeah.
And as far as the I think he was cutting his teeth on the car still at that point. I think with the Tuatara, it's going to be whether he can, I don't know. Time will tell. I have nothing bad to say about him.
Was the car actually fun to drive besides being a G-force machine?
Yes. The car, we had a story buried back in eGarage about taking both cars out at Homestead in Florida, the CCX and the Ultimate Aero.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to track both of them. It's like it's a very wide Diablo with a lot more power. Diablo VT,
Yeah.
it feels like. I mean, just like, it feels like this Manta Ray, this really fast, wide, grippy thing that, will go 250 miles an hour. But it's hard to comprehend what that kind of boost feels like when it's as strong in fourth as it is in second.
Yeah.
And you can keep going. You really learn that the public road is not the kind of place you want to have fun with this car, and that's why I started backing off of these really high horsepower. I mean, the Camaro is still its own thing, but
I had that feeling in the Venom GT, which was, I did 3 seconds of full throttle and found myself going 160 in a 30.
right. It's exactly what that
you go,
is.
well, this is going to be a problem.
Right, 100%. So
Yeah.
I think, if you think that owning the world's fastest car is, if that's on your bucket list, then the Ultimate Aero is an option. But I think the Tuatara, if he can get whatever he needs to make that thing a success, I think it's very hard to launch a new car, much less a hypercar.
Yeah.
So we'll see, man. Time will tell.
I think the new one looks cool. I mean,
Jason's a talented dude.
Yeah. Yeah. And last question before we end the show. Daniel wants to know, I will be in LA for a week and have evenings 3. Where to rent a car for the Canyons? Turo is what I recommend, honestly, because they have the most options. He's not sure how insurance works. I think it comes with the car, doesn't it? If you rent a car in Turo, you get insurance, right?
You can as an option, I think.
It's an option.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you can do that. Yeah. Go drive the Angeles Forest. Go drive Malibu. We're having some rain, so it's a little nasty up there right now. But it's fun for Safari 911s driving through puddles. Cool. Ben, eGarage.com, Instagram, eGarage, and Within Ben is your personal. What else do you want to plug? Anything?
That's it, dude. Thanks for having me.
Of course, dude. Thanks for coming down.
Yeah.
It's good to chill with y'all.
Yeah, it was fun.
We'll have to do some kind of story creation at some point. If not, we'll just chill and eat food. We can do that too. What other show? What day is it today? Fuck me.
Today
It's Tuesday.
is Tuesday.
We got another show this week, Zach?
We got Pat Long on Thursday.
Pat Long,
Nice.
Thursday morning. Right. I think it's going to be at 10 a.m. for those of you in the live zone.
He's going to do much better than me.
Well, Pat's the man, dude. He's got stories. He's been driving those new RSRs. I'm very excited to talk to him. Thanks for coming by, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you, Ben.
man.
And I'll see y'all on Thursday or next week if you're not listening live. Smoking Tire Podcast is powered by Shout Engine. Get your own damn podcast at shoutengine.com. It is easy. All you need is a microphone, a connection to the internet, and ideally, something to say. I'll see you guys later. Bye.